Hello, welcome to another episode of FireDEV, a fireside chat with developers. Today I have Paudric Smith, aka Pixel Pat, with me, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Hello guys, my name is Paudric Smith, Pixel Pat. I am a hobbyist game developer. Um, I mostly make games in Unity. I have always liked making programming games from an early age. I remember the first computer I had was a Commodore 64, and I got it for my fifth. Well, I was 5 years old, and it was Christmas. And the excitement, I don't know if you ever see the Commodore 64, it looks terrible and it's really bad games on it. But as a 5 year old, when you're nothing else, in 1980, what was it, six, seven? Yeah, it was an amazing Christmas playing like games like Flimbo's Quest. It's like a side scrolling game where you could shoot, it was amazing. There was a soccer game I got as well, and it was called International Soccer, and it was just like blocks running up and down, left, right, up, and it looked terrible. But yeah, that's at the time was brilliant, and that got me interested in games. And on the Commodore 64, you got a manual where you can program little games on basic language, the basic programming language. So that's probably started at around 6 or 7. Um, but then as life goes on, you kind of leave that and go on to different things. Um, I worked putting up aerials, satellite dishes for about 10 years in my 20s, just to make money, just for a job. But I always wanted to code. Um, Eventually got the chance in my early 30s. I said, okay, I'm going to do this myself through tutorials, like for Hans channel and Sonar Systems. I used a lot of his YouTube videos. One of them was Flappy Board for Unity. I did that one for him, with him. That helped me out a lot, and I just did tutorials like that, and it got me into it more and more. So I eventually applied for college. I got the first choice I wanted near me. I didn't go for the best college in Ireland renting it, but I went for the closest one because a bit lazy, didn't want to be traveling. So just went to the nearest one, a good college anyway. Spent 5 years doing a degree, the bachelor's degree. Just graduated in June this year, and the whole summer just looking for entry level software development jobs. C Sharp, .NET, Java, JavaScript, anything really, just to get foot on the ladder. So I've applied for about 100 different companies over the last 3 months, and every day is just like I look at email, it's another rejection all the time. Um, Due to they found someone with more experience, and uh, sorry, you weren't quick enough. There's too many 100 plus applicants for the job. The competition is unbelievable for graduates. It is terrible. Um, but you kind of get over that eventually. Like you get hard skin. At this stage, I don't care anymore. I just know, okay, just keep grinding away, and something will happen. Um, got an offer last week to be a computer science teacher, um, which is brilliant. In secondary school, you can't beat teaching somebody else. It's so rewarding to get that feeling of teaching someone how to code. Is amazing. I'm sure Fran understands that. Um, but it's kind of it's not going through. We still have some paperwork to do, some vetting, uh, bits and bobs. Contracts not signed yet, but at the moment I'm also I've got an interview on Monday for a graduate software engineer, which is the position that I want. So I'm hoping that I know that I'm going to get this job before I take the teaching job, because it wouldn't be fair to accept the teaching job now next week, and then um, the software development company tells me in 2 weeks' time I got the job, but then I have to let the other guy down. So I'm kind of in a bit of a complicated situation at the moment where I'm just hoping that the software engineer company gets back to me before the teaching job does. And I suppose also what I've done after college, I've started making more games in Unity, working on like 3 or 4 games at the moment in a few teams. A lot of pressure at the moment under a game. People think making games is living the life. It's easy, but man, it's a lot of pressure and people don't understand. Yeah, it's tough, but just keep grinding for that reward, and that leads me to now. That's it, I suppose.
Yeah, that was a nice intro. So, touching on the little thing that you're saying that you got the offer for being a teacher, but you want the software graduate position. Have you done any teaching before, or will this be your first time in teaching?
In college, every year there's kind of youth outreach programs. So I have volunteered for these. Well, it wasn't, I volunteered, but it's also a paid job. So I have done some teaching in second year and third year for in a secondary school for transition year students. And I love that. I was just showing them how to make a simple Pong game in Construct 2 or something like that. But he got paid €40 an hour, and so it was probably like the money is bonus, but teaching was also great. So I have dabbed my foot in it, and which is probably the reason why I was offered this job, because I have some experience in it.
Okay, that's cool. You mentioned they say it's transition or transitionary student. Well, what's one of
Yeah.
them?
Transit in Ireland, so in secondary school. I don't know how you call it in England. What's secondary school in England?
Well, depending on where you're from, some people call it secondary school or high school. So
Yeah,
I usually flip between the two. So yeah, it's
yeah,
and the education system will be pretty similar between obviously
mm.
England and Ireland as well. But it says transitionary student. I hadn't heard that term, so I'm just
um,
looking to understand what that particularly is and like
okay.
what our equivalent might be.
Yeah, so let me tell you what that is. So in secondary school, you have 3 years. So you've got first year, second year, third year, and at the end of third year, you'll have what's called a junior certificate, a junior cert, and that's like a big exam. Okay, and then after this, you will have fifth year and sixth year. So you see the way it doesn't go to fourth year, fifth year, sixth year. So you kind of skip fourth year, and you do fifth and sixth year. But if you are very like intelligent and top of your class and you apply for this, like there's limited places to get into fourth year, which is called transition year. It's kind of a year where it's more creative and you don't do the normal subjects as anything else. Like for example, like I was teaching the transition year students game development, so that would be off. It would be off the government curriculum. It would be kind of unique, different subjects that you could do, like art and things like that. So that's basically. I don't know if you have anything in England similar to that.
Kind of. Obviously, it's slightly different. In England, we have primary school, which is generally composed of nursery reception, and then you
Hmm.
have years 1 through to 6, and then you do what's called, the SATs, and
Yeah,
then obviously that with that grade you go to high school or secondary school,
yeah,
and there you have years 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Years 10 and 11 are focused on GCSEs, which we
mm.
used to be called O levels ages ago, like in my
I
dad's
remember that.
time.
Yeah,
Do you remember that? Yeah, because my dad always refers to them as O levels.
O levels.
But
Yeah,
obviously, yeah, I've known them all my life as GCSEs. And then
yeah,
after that, you'll do years 12 and 13. I mean, if you do not refer to as that, but that's effectively what it is. You can either do that in a sixth form, which is usually as part of the school, or in a separate college or like an academy, and you'll do your A levels there, and then after that it'll be university. So yeah, there are some other systems like what you were mentioning, but it's not quite the same. But yeah, okay, that's pretty cool to
yeah,
understand that. I mean, you kind of touched on this in your introduction, but like, how long have you been a developer for? Would you say?
yeah. I suppose if I was to say when the inception happened, like started of game development, it would be about only about 8 years ago, I made a kind of not a text based game, but it was like an ASCII game in C plus plus. It was like a roulette game. You know the way when you have two people at the table, and you have the guy who is there, like you have the kind of master guy in the middle of the table, and you have two guys, and he spins the barrel for you, so you have to take a shot, and then but on the screen it will come up and say bang, and go and be tick 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 tick, like another way the sound of the barrel rolling tick, 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 gets slower, and then
Russian roulette,
yeah,
a version
Russian
of that.
roulette.
That's pretty cool.
It was like that. Yeah, that would have been the first time I did that, and that was just kind of trying to learn. That was when I was learning how to program. I said I'm going to choose C plus plus because I heard on the like all over the internet you're saying like that's probably the hardest language, and is the language that could be the most used for doing using building systems and things like that. So I wanted to start hardest, so I could actually learn quicker, and that was my thought process. But maybe not the right thing to do, but it seemed to serve me well enough. It's probably 7, 8 years ago.
Okay, so almost a decade. And again, you've touched on this, but if there's anything else you want to add, what made you become a developer versus, because obviously you're saying you was doing some other, work like putting up like aerials and that.
Yeah,
But what made you become a developer now? Because you said you did some stuff in the early days when you were a kid, but I know a lot of people that are a bit older and they, just to use computers, you effectively had to do some sort of coding and tinkering.
yeah,
So that was just like commonplace. But what made you really want
yeah.
to become a developer, and instead of something else that was also well paid, perhaps?
Um, well, about 10 years ago, I actually wanted to go back to do a degree in physics and quantum physics. Just fascinated with Michio Kaku, his burgers, his books. What am I talking about? His books on. I must be hungry. Um, I I was reading the that guy. He's a physicist about multiple universes and kind of string theory and all this stuff. And I really interested in that when I was about 28, 29. So I said, you know what? I love this subject. I want to study for it myself and do a degree. But the problem was in secondary school, I hadn't got any points for physics because I chose chemistry. Okay, so I spent a year teaching myself secondary school physics right from scratch. I got a whiteboard on the wall and everything, and got really into it. And then I found a program called CS3. I was kind of animation where you can make animation and coding and animation as well. And then during the process, using the mathematics and physics to do the rotations and do some animation on the screen, I made a few YouTube videos for kids using that knowledge. And then somehow I don't know, it's just like you get a flat tire on your car, and I was just being pulled into a different direction, more into animation and programming that way, just by chance. When I was about 30, and then we moved house, and I don't know, I just started looking at videos about programming, and it looked so hard. I mean, it looked. I was terrified to start programming, which actually made me okay. That's a challenge. Let me just see how deep I can go into programming. And then I learned for loops and while loops and do whiles, and just get into this and trying to just by practicing. And I was the kind of type to learn by not by okay looking briefly at a video and then making mistakes. I'll just trying new things myself. So I was doing that, and I just from by accident kind of getting into programming, and then um, obviously programming is great, but as a hobbyist you want to see kind of something visual. So I started, okay, let me try make a simple game, and so I did that with C++ with the roulette. And I actually made at one point, this is how bad I did this, listen to this really terrible idea. So I made a cow simulator. Okay, with C++. A farming simulator where you can buy different types of cows. I researched different cows and bulls and, and everything, and different. You could buy field sizes, different fields, different sizes, and you know. Uh, so that was just to practice. Like because there's the things I learned in that by making these little games that stood to me, and then I made a portfolio for college, and a year later I got the place, I suppose. So yeah, that's I don't know if that answered your question, but yeah, that's
Yes,
that's
it
it, I suppose.
does answer my question. Um, do you have like a family, wife, spouse, children, and sort of linking with that for developing in general and in terms of like a social family situation? What do you wish you knew when you started that you know now?
Um, I suppose I suppose my family. I have a wife, married 10 years ago. Two kids, a boy and a girl. And my daughter is 9, my son is 7, and my 9 year old is really into programming because she wants to copy daddy on the computer, and my boy is he. I says, Edward, what do you want to be when you grow up? He wants to be a gamer. So my boy is really into just playing games, no interest in programming. And my daughter, she's into Python. I got her, Carol Vorderman. She has a programming book, Python. I've been teaching my daughter Python the last 2 years, and she's big into it. So that kind of drives me to keep going. And what was the second question again? Sorry.
So yeah, he was just send me a link in with that and send me just as a developer in general. What do you wish you knew when you started that you know now?
My God, that's a great question. There's so many things, but the main one would be what I wish I knew then, what I know now. My God, I wish I knew everything. What can I say? I wish I knew how to do all the stuff. I don't know. I wish. I suppose I wish not what I knew, but probably my mindset. Not to like to be calm. If you're struggling on some programming issue, I would tell myself, "You look, you just stay calm and you will get through it." Because sometimes programming, uh, when I started off, I would feel very well. First of all, you feel afraid to approach something that you didn't understand, and then you'd feel kind of frustrated when you didn't understand something. But I tell myself eventually, like you will get there. So don't stress about it. Take it easy and don't like work yourself too much stress over programming. I suppose I would tell myself.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there before, and I think many other people probably have as well. So, again, just circling back because you were saying, you got some, your children, you got a wife. How was that transition, going from what you was doing before to, now learning to become a developer? Because obviously you have, certain commitments, certain, and
Yeah.
especially considering you've just finished, university as well, which we'll touch on in a second, your experience with that. But like obviously it's a big change because I went to university, but I went when I was 18 years old. I graduated when I was 22,
Oh,
and
that's
I
brilliant.
didn't get married until I was 28 years old. So
Yeah.
it was far away
Yeah.
from when I did university. So the decision was a lot easier. I remember when I was at university though, there was a couple of older students, and they must have been about my age, maybe mid 30s, and they had children, they had mortgage, they had like a wife, they had just a
Yeah.
general a lot of commitments, financially and non-financially. And I remember that this will be another thing that I would love you to comment on is like their outlook and the way they approached it was, I would say, calmer and more grounded than every other student pretty much, even though
Hmm.
they had a lot more on on the line. They were more mature basically. and I think they were overall nicer, than just generally other students. Even the other students that were nice, they just wasn't the same way. So, how was your experience with all that? And obviously, the family dynamic, you switching.
Yeah, kind of similar to yourself. I got married at well, not 28, but I got married when 29. I got married, so similar at that case, but not really similar with. I actually wish I was in your position where I I, I wish I had the balls and the guts the courage to do a degree when I was 18 and get it done at 22, because um, I wouldn't have had so many responsibilities, and it wouldn't have been as stressful, I suppose. And trying to work part time and trying to spend time with your kids and time for your wife, and so it was. Not gonna lie, it wasn't the easiest thing that I ever did. Probably up there with the hardest thing I had to do. Just due to feeling like I had no free time, kind of feeling like I was a prisoner of my own mind, and caught in the matrix, kind of stuck in this matrix where I know how to break free, but I didn't want to break free because I was too used to it, and I was too far into it. You know, there's some like every year I was saying I'm going to drop out. I felt like dropping out every year because just I wanted just to be free, okay, and I just want to be able to spend 2 or 3 weeks and just do whatever I wanted to do. But I couldn't do that while I was in college because it's either doing assignments or else then I have to spend time with my family. So it's not really spending time for myself. There's never a time really to do what I want to do myself. Well, like whether that was just to play a game or whether it was to go for a drive, like anything, just to feel like like I'm human. Everybody's human. You want your free time yourself, So I didn't feel that I had any time myself. I'm just I nearly cried when I graduated there. I was just the joy. It was just thank you, thank God. I'm just finished this now, and I got my degree. I'm just out. I said, I'm just glad it's over now, and I'm happy with the result. And yeah, it was a great learning experience and a hard road, I suppose. And I wish I would have had it done earlier. But I suppose at the time, then I didn't know what I wanted to do then either. So it was kind of it's kind of a chalk and cheese. It's either you know or you don't know, but then it's too late or it's too early. So I did it when I wanted. The good thing is I knew I wanted to do it, so I did it. Back when I was 18, like you doing, I don't think I would have even been interested in it at the time. So I wanted to do it then. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, good answer. Just give me a second,
Yeah.
Pat. For some reason, your audio, I mean, it's coming through. I just want to confirm that it's recording. So I'm just going to pause the podcast. You probably still be able to hear me, but we won't be doing any questions. I'll let you know once we start again.
Okay. No problem.
Okay, we are back from that little break. The audio is intact, everyone. I mean, you guys will know that because you've been listening to it. For us, it was great news. So, just continuing with the questions, Pat, do you regret becoming a developer?
Um. Sometimes I do when I come to a problem where it just seems like it's going to take too long to overcome the problem. I do kind of say, okay, what am I doing this for? I'm just like physically and mentally, you put your body through stress being a developer. Nobody really talks about the physical and mental stress and pain your body gets from developing. For example, sometimes I would be developing a game for about 7 days a week and non-stop, but like you kind of take your body for granted. You think, okay, I can just stay here and just program. I can just sit here all day. But like being stationary is terrible for your body, and it's so when I get kind of a sore back or something or sore butt from sitting down too long, I think, okay, maybe I shouldn't have done this. But then But then when you make something, you feel okay. Yes, I've got over that, and that's kind of outweighs the thing. But like, no, I wouldn't regret it because like the skills that I've learned, programming and game development, is just like you just feel accomplished that you've learned something as well. And no, I don't regret it because of the skills you learn from it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've experienced those same feelings, and again, obviously, I'm in the same boat. I'm always, sitting down, and
Yeah,
I exercise now, trying to get exercise in, whether it's
same.
weights or
Yeah,
whether it's walking. I do want to do more, just walks around the neighborhood, and I was put it off, and I'm like, I'll do it in a bit. Let me finish this. I know
yeah,
I need to be a bit more strict with me, but like, okay, it's 12 or it's 5 or whatever time,
yeah,
it doesn't have to be a long 15, 20, 30 minute walk. Just get it done. And what I usually find is the days when I usually do it, have a couple of walks, I feel better, and
yeah,
I'm overall more productive as well because it's a nice break. So I think the main thing for me, and this will be advice for anyone listening as well, is try and think about in your day to day, and this is easier said than done. I'm still struggling with this, but think about in your day to day schedule. The stuff that you do, especially the procrastination stuff. Like scrolling on YouTube, scrolling on social media. Doing something that you shouldn't be doing. And if you can take half an hour out of that, and go on a walk, for example, or maybe lift some weights, or whatever exercise it is. Find that exercise for you, and that'll be far more productive because the reality is we all waste a lot of time in our day. And I'm not talking about like washing the dishes. I'm talking about actual waste of time, like you
yeah,
gotta wash the dishes, but scrolling on YouTube and then feeling
yeah,
bad about it, that is like a really just
yeah,
negative use of your time. So yeah, try and
yeah,
find a way of reducing that, doing
mm,
exercise. That way you're you're not working less, you're just working better.
yeah.
So okay, okay. So you're saying you're working on some game projects and that you've been working a lot on them. So effectively, obviously, that's an indie developer. How do you find that life, and do you regret that specifically? I know you're looking at jobs, but if let's say that was your full time job, and let's say you're making, let's say, just enough money, not crazy amount, but just enough money to pay the bill and just to be okay, would you regret that and or not?
No, I wouldn't mind being in that position, but at the moment I would still be in the kind of stage of I'm just building my portfolio at the moment. So I'm not even at the stage where I can make revenue. I am working on 3 or 4 games at the moment, and hopefully by next summer I will have 4 games. Really hope to get one on Steam as well by next summer. But if that happened and I was just getting through, I probably would regret that then. But see, that's I'm kind of I've seen that before with other people, and so I'm kind of just trying to find a full time job, and then uh, be an indie game developer part time. So and then if that hobby ever becomes lucrative, then I could think about it to give it up. But at the moment, no. I think best thing for me would be is just to get a software developer job, um, and try not to just live off game development because at the moment I'd be homeless if I was to do that. I would definitely would not work for me at the moment, but hopefully in the future I hope to be there, get some kind of revenue.
Some kind of revenue. Okay, that's good stuff. And like again, because you got a family, I've got a family, so I'm interested to hear your take on it. Like, how do you imagine that sort of being structured? Let's say you get let's say your software, that graduate job. That's a 9 to 5. Let's assume it's remote as well. So you
Hmm.
got no commute, so it's 9 to 5. But then you want to do your other endeavors as well. Like, how do you think you might structure that?
I kind of had that situation in third year. We had a work placement module where for 6 months you become an intern in a real software development company, And during that, it was all remote because it was 2021. Yeah, and it was just 2021, and COVID was in its prime, and it was all remote. So I could use that time to work on a game while I was supposed to be um, working for the company. But how I structured it was I would make sure I'd get everything done. I get all the tasks done for the job, for the company, and I would kind of get them done in about an hour or two, um, 3-4 hours max, and then have the rest of the day. So I'd kind of do the first half of the day, the morning, maybe from 9 till 12, work 9 till 1, and then have a break, and then I could do game development after that. And it worked out fantastically. But the company didn't know, obviously, and I wouldn't tell them because I'd definitely be fired.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah,
So basically, your structure was and will be going forward. Doing your, let's say, 9 to 5 hours, but within that fit. Basically the hours are more
yeah,
intense. More hardcore, where like I say, you got a couple of hours or a few hours for your regular job. You get what you need to get done, and then you
yeah,
spend the rest of the hours till about 5, maybe a bit over if you need to,
yeah,
and do your other pursuits, which is game
yeah.
development in this.
Yeah. I,
Uh,
I remember how I really got all the work done intensively was I used the kind of format of Pomodoro. You never see the
oh,
YouTube videos where it's
yes, I've
50
heard of the
minutes
Pomodoro
and
technique.
yeah, that's how I really got by. I was doing it like with people live on YouTube, and even got an app for it. So 50 minutes I was just focused on it, and I just turned off all social media and everything. Did it, and then 10 minutes break. Got it, stood up, stretched, 50 minutes again, and it was brilliant. And at one stage, I was even streaming it on Discord, like I was, like having people watch me do the work as well for the company. It gave an onus on me, like okay, someone's watching me, so then I had to force me to even work harder. You know what I mean? Instead of just because if I procrastinate and I'm streaming live, uh, like what the hell, you don't want to, people are going to be thinking you're just working but not doing anything. So that, but having people watching actually helped. Um, and for doing the game development, I was streaming live on Twitch as well, and I'm still trying to grow my Twitch channel. At the moment, I've nearly 150 people at the moment, which is good for. I streamed a few times. I haven't really streamed much, but it's I'd hopefully be able to do the game development on Twitch every day as well.
Okay, that's some nice techniques that you got there. Yeah, the Pomodoro technique is something that I've looked into before. I've tried before, and or like some variation of it where you have X amount of time and
Yeah,
you just go hardcore. Like you put your phone away, you turn it over,
yeah,
reduce the number of
yeah.
distractions, and
It's
you just
easier
try and
said
get
than
as
done,
much done as
you
possible.
know.
Like, but how do you sort of manage where the 50-minute, like you get into the flow? Like, obviously
Yeah.
that's a problem in itself. But let's say you get into the flow, 50 minutes will have long you set ends, but you're still in the flow. And let's say you haven't quite finished that little task or subtask that you're in the middle
Yeah,
of, and you're like, oh, let me just finish, let me finish it.
yeah.
But from experience that that thing could spiral into another hour or two.
Yeah, so no, I didn't let that happen. And some of the YouTube channels they'd have the fire crackling, or they'd have like rainfall, and I just had the headphones in, and that just pretend. I just pretended, fantasized I was in a log cabin somewhere in the mountains, peace and quiet. Even though in the background the kids are running around as well behind me. So, but it was just yeah, and that's a great question. Like there was that did happen a few times where I'm in the flow and it's oh my god I have to take a break, and then sometimes I did just keep working through it. But then I learned very quickly that doing that then you're actually stressing your body out, and it's better to take a break away because sometimes you take a breather. Like even sometimes you have a problem in programming. I'd sleep, and the next day you wake up and you're fresh, and you actually you can get you're actually taking yourself out of it for a bit, letting your mind relax, and then while you're sleeping, sometimes the rest is better than actually working hard. Your brain is actually doing the quantifications and and it's working out the calculations while you're sleeping. You don't even know, like subconsciously that happens, and then you come back the next day to the computer and you're like, okay, I'm fresh. You know.
Oh yeah, I've got a story. When I was at university, I was on my placement year at Accenture, and I was at home. I was late night coding. It was just for a personal project,
Yeah.
and it was actually making a game, the first release game that I made. Made Glowbreaker version 1 in Objective C in Xcode, and I remember I was like super tired. I was at
Yeah.
the on my Mac. I had the keyboard. I was just typing away like lines of code, but like my eyes were like, I say barely half open, barely, and
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I was adamant it was the best work I had,
Yeah.
I was doing, like literally the best work, and I was just doing it, and then I don't really remember what happened. I just nodded off, and like
Yeah.
I was, my head was just on the keyboard or on the desk. And I remember I woke up, like dribble coming down my mouth, and I
Oh,
remember thinking it's about a couple hours later, and this was way past midnight, so it must be about 3 4 a.m. And I remember thinking, okay, let's get back to it.
yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
had a bit of sleep, so my eyes were a bit more open, and okay, I was like, let me see where I got to before I fell asleep. I looked at my code, and so many lines of code was just gibberish. I was like, it just
Uh,
like it made it I was like, these aren't even programming words and terms that I'm using here. I was like, what is this? But for it's just so many lines. It must be in a 10, 20, maybe even 100 or so lines
oh,
just of just gibberish. And I remember at the time I was just thinking, oh, I'm writing the best, uh,
yeah.
lines of code
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah, but was that from your head, or maybe your hand or your head that fell on the keyboard, or was that from you coding before you
No, it
slept,
was
or
actually from me coding, because
uh,
the it was still kind of structured in like a code like fashion. So like the lines, I could tell that
yeah,
was from, like I could tell the part where it was from when I had just gone to sleep, because just like one or two characters were just repeating themselves. So
uh,
it more that the rest, like it was by line, like it had some indentation, it had some like curly braces and brackets, but
yeah.
apart from that, it didn't really have much.
Hey
Like
man, like you could have made your own programming language you didn't even know. Maybe you're channeling some kind of alien programming language. You never know, dude.
maybe, but whatever it was, it
In the
made no
zone.
sense to me. After that, I was like, I mean, there's still moments now where I'll be late at night, unless if I'm doing some coding or something, I'll be at it. But after then, and especially now, if I can tell I'm getting tired, I'll be like, okay,
Yeah.
laptop away, computer away,
See,
I'm
that
going to
comes
bed.
with experience. Like, yeah,
Yes,
that
it
just
does.
comes with your mature. Like that's been mature, because in college, like at that 18 or 19, when you said you were like, yeah, at that age you just like you
You
don't
think you're
understand.
invincible?
Yeah, that's it. You think you're invincible, and you don't understand your body needs some kind of
Rest.
refreshment and rest. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. Because I remember after university for about 4, 5, maybe a bit longer years, I used to go to bed at like midnight, and I used to wake up at 4:30. So I had 4.5 hours sleep, like free sleep cycles, and I used to go ham, like I'd go crazy at work, and the hours I put in now is less. One, because I do sleep more. I'm getting older. I do exercise as well now, so obviously I generally get more tired and I have a lot
Oh
more on
yeah.
my plate.
Can
Plus, I
I?
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
What was you gonna say, Pat?
Just gonna say, yeah. I think you touched on about the gym and about the health earlier on. I was gonna say myself, you started the gym. When did you start going to gym? Was it recently now, or how long are you doing the gym?
Only a few years ago. I'll say somewhere at
Yeah,
2022 is before COVID, so
yeah,
it wasn't because of COVID. Maybe a year or two before that. Like after uni, I needed to lose some weight, so I, going to
oh
walking,
yeah,
and obviously, just general diet. Like the
I
diet
feel
is
that.
obviously
Yeah,
the big one. But
I
like in
was.
terms
Yeah.
of really getting into fitness, probably 2018, 2019, and it's more like 2020 and also, and where I really got into it, I was tracking stuff, and I was like really lifting, weights. Like
Was
for a
that
brief.
during COVID? Was it? That was.
Like it pre and during COVID, so it's a bit about. So it
Wow.
wasn't because of COVID. It was just happens to coincide with that. Like
I was the
I've got
opposite
that.
as you.
Say again.
I was the opposite to you because during COVID, I got really fat. I'm talking like Michelin Man, fat. Like I have some rings around me that I'm telling you, the Michelin Man would have a laugh. So I only started going to the gym 3 months ago, and I've lost 10 kgs, and I'm feeling great.
Oh, congratulations! I mean, that's a
Thank
good
you,
amount to lose in
thank you. Yeah,
just 3 months. That's just three over three
fasting and
kilos.
everything, intermittent fasting and all that crap.
I've tried that
Trying
stuff as
trying
well.
everything is
Love
hard,
it.
but
It's hard,
it's
but I mean,
gets results.
once you get used to it,
Yeah,
once you get acclimated to it, it's like, oh, it must feel like a superpower. It almost feels like insane. And so, like for me, I've gained a bit of weight. I know I need to lose some. I'm in the process of losing it, but it was not. It was less because of COVID, and it was more just because I got married. If I'm
oh
being honest,
yeah,
like
you get comfortable,
I
settle
just let
down.
things slip. I mean, that
Yeah,
was like a big eye opener. Like after before getting married, I'll do OMAD intermittent fasting. I'll
yeah,
do fasting days where I wouldn't eat anything, just drink
yeah,
water, and I would exercise on those days as well if the exercise happened to
yeah,
fall on that day. So I wasn't not doing stuff, and I was doing my work as well and all the
yeah,
other stuff. But when I got married, it was a lot harder. Like my wife would be like, "Why are you not eating? Like have some food." Like it'd be a lot
yeah,
harder. Or like if we're about to go out, then
yeah,
it's like I've got to
yeah,
realistically I've got to eat.
yeah,
And so like it definitely got harder afterwards, but like I'm getting back into a routine, eating
mm,
better, eating healthier,
yeah,
I exercising
yeah.
more as well. So yeah,
Good man.
that's like for
Um,
me how I really got into exercise, and it helps, when you're doing, work from home. Like one of the things that like a big thing for me was it breaks up the day as well, because like if you
yeah,
are trying to, like, especially back then before I got married, when I was working till I basically dropped at the end of the day, like it helps break it up a bit. Obviously, you got a meal that might break it up, you got other stuff, but like it's a positive thing as well. So it helps break that up, which is nice, to be fair. So yeah, that's basically how I got into it.
yeah. But I think another way when you're married, it's kind of like you said, you kind of you kind of get comfortable and you relax. And but see, when before you're married, you kind of take care of your body more because you're trying to find somebody, But then once you get married, you found somebody. It's like, okay, I was just making myself, fit to attract somebody. But then you kind of lose track that it's actually important to look after yourself. So so then you kind of after a few years getting married, you settle down. You say, okay, but I don't like the way, like, I'm not healthy anymore, not fit anymore, and then you start getting back into it, and you regret. Okay, why did I ever stop keeping fit?
Oh
They
yeah.
start.
Oh yeah. So yeah, moving on. What do you hate about being a developer?
Oh, what do I hate about it? I suppose it's very. I hate that it's. I don't know if I hate anything about it, but I suppose I would dislike that you have to do every role yourself.
Hmm.
Marketing, you don't you have to do it yourself because if
That's the big one. It's like
that's
putting
very
yourself out there,
important.
like
Yeah,
marketing, the promote. Like that was something I struggled with. I mean, still figuring stuff out. But like that's something that I, you know, didn't value, because I was like, oh, it's only marketing. It's not
yeah.
actually creating the thing. And yeah, it is not creating the thing.
It's the most
But
important thing, actually.
yes,
I think
if nobody buys it,
if nobody
nobody
knows
buys it.
about it, yeah, you
Yeah,
have to
if
tell
nobody
people
downloads your app, or nobody
exactly.
watches
Yeah,
your video, or
good.
like, or if you get in a job, like, if you've got all the skills in the world and you're like the best in the world, but your CV and your personal statement and, let's say, your interview techniques are
Yeah,
terrible, then it doesn't matter, because you
exactly.
have
Yeah,
not promoted yourself
you can't
and
sell
marketed
yourself
yourself
then.
in a way that makes people be like, oh, we want this guy.
Yeah. I've
So
actually there's a story there I can tell you about this situation, right? There's on Discord, and on Twitch. So in the last couple of years, I've been looking at a few people on Twitch, and there's a guy, like, the amount of, if I had a penny for every time the indie developers tell me, oh, I don't like advertising myself, I don't like to do this. Like
Hmm.
I'd be a millionaire, and that I just don't understand this mentality of an individual. Like, okay, you're making this brilliant game on Twitch, but then they don't want to do any. They feel like, oh, I don't want to be big headed. I don't want to do this, but they're looking at it the wrong idea. It's not being
It's
big
almost like you're
headed.
selling
It's not.
yourself out. I think that's
Yeah,
what they kind of see it.
exactly. You know, you have a great product here, but then you're thinking negatively about marketing. You know, that's like it's actually a lot of people I've seen that see marketing. Oh, maybe they don't understand it, or maybe they think negatively of it. But it's a shame. There'd be a lot more indie developers if people understood how important marketing was.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And I remember when I've in the past been, doing stuff, and I've tried to put it out there, and sometimes I've been a bit spammy with it, or being a bit forceful with it. Even like people online, and obviously I don't really care much for people, random people online just making negative comments. But like I've got people in my life, friends and family that have made, comments, basically, why pushing it. And it's like, it's unfortunately it is not a matter of build it and they will come. Build
Yeah,
it and not market it and nobody will come. Zero people. I remember I was reading a statistic that like over 50% of the apps on the Android store, and probably with the Apple store as well, get zero downloads or virtually no downloads. And it's a crazy statistic when you think about it. And
yeah,
it's because there's so much stuff out there. It doesn't have to be an app. It can be a video. It could be a
hmm,
TikTok
yeah,
thing or whatever. And if you're not promoting it, and if you're not putting it out there on your own social media, trying to build a social media around what you're doing, trying to build a Discord group, or whatever it is, or talking to people about it. And that's another hard thing that I've found. And obviously when you release your games, Pat, I think I mean, I hope you don't come across it, but I think you probably will. Just statistically speaking, is like you're trying to
hmm,
ask somebody to download it and review it for you. And they say if you're charging the game, you'll give them a code, so it doesn't cost them anything.
yeah,
And like it'll be a hassle just to get them to do that stuff.
yeah.
And you think these are meant to be friends and family, and like when you ask somebody to do that stuff, and the ones that do it without hesitation, you're like, oh damn, like
Yeah,
these guys are the ones who are the friends, the family, like the real, like let's just say the real family, including the
yeah,
ones that are just friends as well. They're the
yeah,
real family. Because I remember asking some friends, when I released a game or a book, and like, do you mind just reviewing it? I was like, I'll even write the review for you.
yeah,
If it's that much of an issue, I just need it, out there.
yeah,
And they were like making a big fuss, like, I'll do it when I can. Like they was
yeah,
acting like there was some big UN advisory member that was talking about matters of war, and they had no time. And I was like, you just got a regular job, chill.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, and
yeah.
or there was like, I have to, obviously it's fair enough from a normal person, but when
You
it's a
have to
friend and
force feed them.
family, you don't expect them to be like,
Yeah,
I have to check out what you made first, and I have to make sure it's good enough to get a 5-star review or whatever, because my name's on the line. It's like, dude, you've got no name. Like
yeah,
you again, I don't mean it in a mean way, but it's just the reality that you've got
yeah,
no name. But then when you get people that would literally just give you that review straight away without hesitation, it's just like, damn, like
yeah.
those are the guys. So yeah, so that's basically how I've found that stuff.
Yeah. But then I could probably talk to you about the spam, because I know you've got a huge Discord, and I am part of Discord as well. And how do you like? How do you feel about spammers in the channels? Like you see these, there's a lot of spam bots, and then there's guys just trying to spam. Like so. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've briefly discussed it outside of the podcast, and yeah, because you are part of the Discord channel. And one
I've
second,
noticed it. Yeah.
I'm just about to open the Discord channel now,
Yeah.
just to see how
Like, does
many
that bother
members I've
you,
got.
or like, how do you feel about that? Does that annoy you,
Uh,
or is that?
I mean, yeah, it does annoy me. Yeah, so over 7,500 members on the. I remember on a side note when I had 100, when I had like 500,
Yeah,
and like when you passed like 1,000, 2,500, it was
yeah,
just the feeling was insane like
yeah.
last year. But yeah, like
That,
so my opinion on it is yeah, I don't like it, and I need to figure out a way of sorting that out. I need to get some more bots in, like you were saying,
mm,
that will automatically sort out the spam. I've got some, I think, but they didn't. I think they initially did a good job. I think I might just need newer ones, more
yeah,
updated ones. Like how you have a ad blocker sometimes it doesn't work anymore. You need like a newer updated one. I think it's
yeah,
probably a situation like that. The thing is, if somebody is posting their own content, I don't mind. Like I know a lot of people are very much like, don't post your content on my thing.
yeah.
This
I'm
is
not
my
like that at
thing.
all.
Don't
Yeah,
share your thing. That I don't have an issue with. But the
I
spam
encourage
I
that.
think you're referring to is literally just spam. It has no actual
Yeah,
content really to it. It's either negative or just spam for some BS thing.
yeah,
But let's say if
and
you've created something, that you've created a game, you've created a video, and I've even got a channel for it, to share you stuff like share it. I don't mind. If you
yeah,
start posting it 100 times of the same thing. But let's say
yeah,
if you create 100 different videos or 100 different games, and you want to post each one individually, I have zero problems with that.
yeah,
So like that's my opinion on spam. I think it's a bit different to most people. Most people are like, oh no, this is my thing, no spam, no nothing, no
yeah,
talking about promoting your own product. I think because I'm doing it and I understand how hard it is to,
yeah.
just get stuff out there. I, I
I
and this
like
isn't the
that.
case for everyone that's
Yeah,
doing it, but I'm a bit more
yeah,
lenient about it. Again, as long as what you're doing really doesn't step on what I'm doing, which I find most of the time, if you let's say
yeah,
you made a game, you're sharing it, that's fine. I'm all right with that. Obviously, I wouldn't like it if, let's say, you was reviewing one of my games and then you was like, "Oh, I've got this better game. Come and
yeah,
download my game." But like, if
yeah,
you're just part of the Discord group, for example, or let's say
yeah,
in the YouTube comments, and you're like, "Oh, there's also this video as well," and it's actually helpful and relevant, I don't mind, that.
yeah,
So that's my opinion
yeah.
on spam. What's
No.
your opinion on it, Pixel Pat?
Well, that's probably one of the reasons why I haven't left your Discord, because you see like people join Discords and next you know they leave, they in and out all the time. But like I suppose because your Discord is really chill, and that's you're probably like the way you run your Discord is actually the way I would probably run it mine myself, and I like the way it's kind of free speech.
Yeah.
I really hate Discords where I go in and you have a million different rules. Read this, read that. You have to click
Oh
here,
my
click
god,
that.
yes.
You're like, what the fuck is this? Come on. Who the hell does the guy think he is? He's
And then
fucking
you're
trying to be
afraid
Hitler
to
or something.
post something that
Yeah,
you legitimately just want to post just in
yeah,
case. And sometimes they have like a zero, tolerance policy, and they just get rid of you if
yeah.
it's a Discord or whether it's on like an
Oh, there's nothing worse.
subreddit,
Oh,
for example.
And but like, do you know what the worst thing happened to me a while ago? I did that. I kind of promoted myself like only like once, and it was kind of in a place where other people were doing it. It wasn't just okay, do it in the welcome screen. I was doing
Hmm.
it in the proper place, and then the mod just gets on. Like the mod just shows his authority. I'm just letting you know, Pixel Pat. Don't do this and do that, and don't just letting you know, and all this shit. Okay, fuck that. I just leave the Discord. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I
It's
know what you
just
mean.
too fucking strict. I hate that.
Yeah, I
You know?
mean that's something I've always been very, adamant about. Like the communities that I'm creating, obviously there's gonna be rules, like don't be hurtful and negative,
Yeah,
really negative to
that's fair
others,
enough. Yeah,
and and obviously me included. And I mean I'm less lenient about when you're negative and hurtful to others. If you say something bad about me, like I've had it in the YouTube comments, I don't really mind. Like that, obviously, I'm Asian, so sometimes, very rarely, but I get the odd racist comment as well. Honestly, I ignore it. I'm not that fussed by
yeah,
it. But like, it's when when people are just
yeah,
spamming like crazy. I don't like that. We'll after the podcast, we'll discuss about sorting it out in the Discord channels to some
yeah.
you know bots that we
That's
can hopefully
yeah,
fix stuff up, because it's a nice Discord channel. Like it's got a
mm,
lot of members. Like online right now, 450, like half a thousand members.
You have
online right
you
now.
have loads of channels in that server. I don't even know. Like you have a channel for every kind of device. It's
Yeah, like, I
unreal.
mean, like it's the whole idea behind, like, you can come here, you can get a lot out of it, a lot of education out of it, a lot of sharing. So, but again, it's just like people are constantly joining the server. Like the amount, like, I remember probably just about again, I'm just looking at it now, and it says
Yeah.
so it's 453 online now. So three more members since I just mentioned it about 20 seconds ago have come online. I remember probably just about a year or so ago, it was consistently getting about 100 members online. And now we're getting like nearly 500 members consistently always online. So people are joining, are in here, but it's just this whole spam. Like one of the biggest spam issue ones is, somebody posting about, Discord Nitro and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
I don't even see what they get from posting that. It's like it doesn't even look like an affiliate link, but it does look like, well, it is
Is it a bot maybe?
it's a dummy link. So yeah, so we need to fix that up. But I think once
Um.
that's fixed, it's gonna be a nice
Yeah.
community for people to, just chill in. And I think that's partly why I've, you know, using it less with interacting with the community, because there's so much BS in there. But
Oh
again, I
yeah.
want to get rid of that, get back into it, and interact with the
Yeah.
community, and just have some fun like that. Actually, have it as almost like a online chat room. So
I've seen on your YouTube chat, on some of your YouTube videos, I've seen a weird kind of spam where it's like a few letters and a dot something, and it's like
yeah, I
blue.
think
Like,
they're
what the
trying
hell
to
is that?
post some sort of URL. So like on YouTube, it's not as much. And when I go through the comments, I do delete them and report them as spam. But they're
That's
either
dangerous, isn't
using,
it? Them ones.
yeah, they're
They're like
usually,
viruses.
yeah, they're like a link to a virus or some like
Yeah.
ad website or
Yeah.
to something, some sort of clickbait thing. But it's basically BS. So if you ever see anything like that, don't click on
Never,
it.
never click it. No.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
of course
but
not.
that shows how popular you are is when you start getting those ones because you never see them on channels where there's no viewers.
No,
Like
no, yeah.
because
I mean,
everybody's trying to jump on the boat with you as soon as you get famous, and all that stuff. Everybody's trying, like the bots are even getting in there. Like everybody, you know, it
yeah,
must
of
be like
course.
it gets hard to control. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you control
Yeah,
all this.
I mean, like with the YouTube stuff, it's one, is less of an issue, and for me, and two, I find it's less important to manage, because the main content is the video, and the secondary content is the
Yeah,
comments. Whereas
that's
on
true.
Discord, the primary comment,
Uh,
content is the
is
text,
the
is the
text? Yeah,
comments.
yeah. It's the
So
people.
this
Yeah,
is so right smack, like when people are going on it, everyone is seeing that spam. Whereas
yeah,
on YouTube, very few
yeah.
people are seeing that spam.
But
That's
like
that's the difference.
what I don't understand, like you were saying earlier on about sometimes you get racist comments. I don't understand in 2022 how these people even exist. Like they must be the most stupidest. Like they must have the lowest intelligence of any human. Like to be racist. Like it's not your fault or my fault what body you're born into.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that's
of
common
course not.
common sense. Like they're idiots. People racism now. Like I don't understand them people really.
Oh yeah, of course not. I mean, like I said, I don't get it that often, but I do get it. Sometimes it's like a subtle, comment, and hidden in a slightly bigger. Maybe
Yeah.
it's part of a genuine question. They just do a subtle comment, and sometimes it's an outright, sort of, spam, racist comment. I mean, the reality is, like, the way I try and view it is, given the right or the wrong situation, we could all be racist, we could all be evil. So,
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
what led them to that? So, again, I try and be sympathetic, but again, that doesn't mean I like it or I allow it. It's just,
Yeah,
it is what it is. I don't get, you know, bogged down by it. So if I see it, I actually have a little chuckle, have a little laugh. And my wife, the negative stuff, she does not like when she's like, it's on my channel, and I'm like, it's my
yeah.
channel. And like, if it was up to her, she'd probably just be responding to all of it and be like, leave me alone, blah blah blah.
Hey,
So I was
you've
like,
got heart. You got tough skin. Like fair play to you. You know the way you can just like flow off it like a water off a duck's back. Like fair play to you.
yeah, I mean,
Handle it
yeah,
well.
you have to. It's either that or you get super bogged down and you only have so much
Yeah,
energy in the day.
you
And
do.
if you're
Yeah,
focusing it on negative stuff, whether that's comments on YouTube about you or whether that's just the news, just about other stuff, like, that energy is used. You cannot get that back until the next day.
You're right. Yeah,
So,
that's true.
so you just got to figure out where you actually want to focus your energy,
Yeah,
on. So
don't
that's
focus on them
basically
comments. Yeah,
no, or at least not too much. Like if you have a look at it, you might get a bit pissed, but then make sure that's not your primary focus. It's like you gotta wash the dishes, but you don't spend 90% of your energy thinking about washing the dishes. Like okay, you gotta do it, and you have a look at it. You sort out, you get that stuff done, but there's more important things to do than washing the dishes. But
yeah,
again, it's something that needs to be. I remember a friend of mine when I was uploading videos initially on YouTube, and the first comment was positive, and for a good while the comments were all positive. And I remember
yeah,
saying to him, "Oh, we got our first comment. It's positive, blah blah blah, and it's,
yeah.
it's nice. It's like uh,
Feels good.
you're not successful until you're getting a negative comment."
Oh
And I
yeah,
remember the first time we got a negative comment, can't remember what it was. It was not a racist one. I think he was just like hating the video. And I remember I told him about it and I showed him the comment. He's just like, yes, finally. And
yeah,
I just remember that reaction. And like, that's what I've tried to, keep in me. It's like, yes,
yeah.
like, they're still viewing it. They're
Well,
still,
Fran, yeah.
engaging in it in some way. And over majority of the interactions are positive. So I'm like, that's fine with me.
The way I
Okay.
see it is like, yeah, if you're getting a negative comment, it means that like these guys are probably just jealous that you've actually you have the energy to do it, and it's just guys who are sitting on their arse. They don't have no life. They just it's just jealousy. I think at the end of the day, they're giving a negative comment. Like, I mean, like, how can you give someone, anybody who makes a video for a start and puts on YouTube, makes an effort like you do, like, how can you ever say it's bad? You know what I mean? Like you do good content there, and you put out good stuff, and so that's bullshit. If anybody says that to you, you
Oh
know,
yeah, no, I totally agree. And
yeah,
what's even more shocking about it is it's a programming video. It's not like I'm talking about politics or race
yeah.
or any of that stuff that can be very polarizing. It's like I'm just telling you how to create a variable in C++. Like
You're trying to
when you
help
think
people,
about it,
yeah,
it's like okay, it's not justified when you're doing it on a political video or a
yeah,
video about race, but that's a bit more of like a matter that gets you a bit more riled up or gets you more emotional. But
exactly.
like
Right,
a
right.
variable in C++, it's like
Yeah,
like
take a
it's
juggle.
a variable. It's like how sad must you
Yeah,
be to really
yeah,
focus energy on it? I mean,
yeah.
it's insane.
It's laughable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay. So if you could work on any product, past, present, or future, what would it be? It doesn't have to be developer, gaming developer related, but it could be if that is, your primary choice.
a product I would like to work on. I'd actually like. I might get. Okay, this is very polarizing. Okay, to a lot of people. Nobody kill me after this, but I would, just because I like C sharp, I would like to be working on Windows, like working for Microsoft. That's what I would like to do. I'd like to work with C .NET and .NET Core. That's just personal preference. I like C sharp, and I would like to work with Microsoft and
Okay, so
Windows.
like,
Yeah,
and just going into that a bit more. So working for Microsoft, like working on making the C sharp language or making Windows or
Windows.
just
Yeah,
C sharp in general.
like make a win. Working on the operating systems. Trying to make it better. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the OS Windows is more written in what C and C++, I'd say,
Yeah.
and
Oh
probably
well.
assembly as
Yeah.
well.
Anything
Okay,
like that. Any of the C languages, like, I'd be interested
yeah.
in.
Okay, I mean that's an interesting one. That's not what most people I would say. I mean they would say something
Yeah.
in particular like Half Life or Uncharted or
Oh well.
on
I
the
suppose.
iPhone or
Yeah.
something.
Well, do you know why I'm probably saying that, because at the moment I've been job hunting for a software engineer, so that's all I'm like. I've been doing these coding, codility and lead code, so that's all in my mind now. So it's all programming. That's probably why. If you had asked me this question last year when I was just into making the games, then I would have said so. If it was a game I would like to work on, either GTA 6 or um, Star Star Citizen or Starfield or
Okay, I mean,
definitely
good games to
Bethesda.
choose
I like
from.
to work with Bethesda and Rockstar or Bethesda. I'd like
Okay,
to.
that's good. I mean, I would just like some news on GTA 6.
Oh yeah, I'd
uh,
love, can't
I
wait for
mean,
that game.
have you? I've just yesterday I completed GTA 5, the remaster on PS5.
Oh,
Have you
the
played the
graphics.
new remaster or?
No, I haven't got a PlayStation 5 yet, but
Okay.
I haven't had the chance to, But no, definitely now when I get a job and I will be playing that. So what's the is there a big difference in the graphics with GTA 5 for the PS4 and the PS5? Is
No,
it
I wouldn't
no?
say so. I think the jump from 3 to 4 was a decent amount. From 4 to 5, I mean, yeah, they're better, but it's not like The Last of Us to The Last of Us Part 1, where it was a full on remake. It isn't, or even The Last of Us to The Last of Us,
Yeah,
remastered, which happened on
yeah.
PS4. So the
Oh,
jump isn't that much. So I would say if you're not a huge fan of GTA and GTA 5, it's not worth playing it. It's not like,
yeah.
the graphics are so good and you've got to play for the graphics. No, like
It's
I love Rockstar's games. I love GTA and GTA 5 being the latest one, so it has the latest sort of gameplay mechanics and
yeah,
control scheme. I was like, I'll have another go. I played it
yeah.
on PS3 when it came out, played it on PS4, played it on PS5. I played it on PC as well.
It's a
So,
legendary game.
oh
It's
yeah, it
so good,
is.
so good.
And they made a
Who do
lot
you
of money
like
off
the
it as
most?
well.
Do you what? Does any character you like? Trevor or Michael
I mean, I
or
like
Jason
them. I like the
or
more in their own way. I think Trevor's probably the one I lean towards the most in terms of he's just so funny. Like,
it's so
but
fun, isn't
but the
it?
whole dynamic, just
Yeah,
works well. And then I love the dynamic
he
with,
just wakes up drunk somewhere on the motorway or something. It's
oh yeah,
class.
just how he is. I just like the dynamic between Franklin and Lamar as well, and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
that's so
yeah.
funny. And yeah, and then Lester the molester, he's so funny as well.
Oh, it's like a comedy game. It's an action comedy game. It has everything, you know.
Oh yeah, it does.
I saw you playing when you got the PS5 last year. So I was watching you play Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
I noticed the graphics with the PS5 there, and that was like mind blowing, crystal clear.
Oh
And
yeah.
I can
I
only
mean,
imagine it was better for you, when you're using your own eyes.
oh
Must
yeah,
have been
because obviously
super.
when you're streaming it, there's a
Yeah,
reduction in quality. Well,
quality. Yeah,
those were the PS4 Pro graphics. They've only just a few months ago released the PS5 version, like an upgraded version of it, which looks even sharper and nicer. But that was the PS4
oh,
Pro. So if you had the PS4 Pro,
oh.
that's how it ran.
So they're even better than that now.
Oh yeah, I mean, like the graphics and like the art style, like how beautiful, like you know, there are some games that I play and I'm like, this is genuinely a piece of art. Ghost of
Yeah,
Tsushima
yeah.
was one of them. The storytelling, the
Mm,
graphics, the actual style of it as well, like the
mm.
colors. It was
The way the
just,
grass moves when you walk through the
oh
grass,
yeah,
even it's
oh
realistic.
yeah, like that game was, yeah, it was a piece of art for sure.
But I was going to say, so what about? Have you ever got into the online GTA 5? I did that for a bit. That's
I
a bit
put
crazy.
Yeah, I played it on PS3 when it first came out. Played it a bit on PS4. It,
It's very hostile. That
yeah, oh yeah.
that
Like online gaming, I used to play a lot when I was at high school, when I was at college,
same. Yeah,
and when I was in the initial years of uni. And then I
Call
just
of
sort of,
Duty was good.
yes, Call of Duty, Killzone, GTA. Like I used to love
Online
playing
is
those ones
amazing. Yeah,
online.
yeah,
But I just one obviously I'm older, I've got a family. But even before
yeah.
that, I just
You
got busy with work and
you have
doing
kids now as
stuff.
well, do you? Or you have any
Yeah, I've
kids?
got
Yeah.
a 5 month old, well, a
Oh,
5.5 month old daughter now. So yeah,
congratulations.
thank you very much. So busy with that stuff as well. And so when I do play games, and I play them on a regular basis, don't get me wrong.
Mm.
I try and fit it in because I love gaming. I can't wait till my daughter's a bit older and she can, properly hold a controller and move the character around.
Yeah.
Can't wait for it to be my co-op buddy and go through all the old games that
Yeah.
I used to love playing. like Little Big Planet.
Yeah,
It Takes Two is more recent. A Way Out. Those sort of games,
yeah,
and
good times. Yeah,
yeah, good times. So like because I don't spend that much time in gaming anymore, and with online you've got to spend time, to really enjoy it. It's like an RPG, you got to spend time. So I play more single player, story driven games, like Uncharted. GTA 5 was, probably the exception, but that's still a very story driven, very, there's compact missions that, you can play for half an hour, get a good amount out of it, and that's it. Whereas some games you do half an hour, it's just setting up, or
yeah.
because you're just not
It's not
playing enough,
enough. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you're just not very good. So I would love to get back into online. One thing that I really do want to do is create a group of friends, maybe existing friends or new friends, where
mm,
we like games and we organize sort of nights where we all play games together
yeah,
and common games. Also, I've
yeah,
been trying to find people amongst
yeah,
my existing circle of friends to do that, but I mean, there's always some excuse here and there. I think the problem with me is I will find a way to fit the time in. Whereas other people are
yeah.
fine. Like I've got a lot of stuff going on, like other people,
Same.
but
Yeah,
I will be like, okay,
make
let's
time for
fit
it.
it in.
Yeah,
Whatever it is, even if
same
I'm
here.
knackered, let me do it. Even if let's say I've just got off a flight, let me try and
Yeah,
fit it in.
it's
But other
important
people,
socializing. You have to,
yeah,
even if it's online. You
oh
know.
yeah, of course, of course. Okay, so moving on, what careers did you think about as an alternative growing up? Obviously, the coding was more of a recent thing, but like, what other careers did you think about growing up that you wanted to do? Maybe you have tried or maybe didn't.
Yeah. I wanted to get a quantum physics degree and be a quantum physicist. That was, but that would have been more when I was just becoming an adult. So that didn't work out, obviously. But as a kid, I used to always kick the football around outside and played for football teams. It was just a natural thing in my neighborhood where everybody was kicking football around. So I always wanted to be a footballer. When I was big into football, playing it like even five aside, 11 aside, all the time. I would have wanted to be a footballer. I played I'm a musician as well. I played the guitar since I was taught myself to play when I was 12, with the books, the guitar books and stuff like that. I wanted to be I had a few bands. I wanted to be a musician, like make my own band and play live. But when I turned around 28, 29, I realized, okay, this ain't never gonna happen. So I get into programming, I suppose. Um, Yeah, so a musician, for like the big wacky things as a fantasy. I want to be singer. I wanted to be this kind of stuff, footballer. These wild things that never happen. I
Yeah,
suppose.
I know, and it's just one of those things you can generally only do so much, and like you want to, and because the thing is, you might enjoy music, you might enjoy movies, so you say, oh yeah, I want to be a musician, I want to be an actor, and the
Yeah,
thing is, even if you might be good at those things, you might not enjoy it. Like that's the other thing.
yeah,
It's like a lot of people want to make games because they like playing games, but the
yeah.
reality is playing them and making them are totally. I remember a lot of people genuinely used to say, and they used to. I think they used to actually think it that because I at uni I did computer games programming. They think, oh,
Same here.
you play games all day, and it's like no,
No,
like pretty much never do
that's
we
far
actually
from the
just
truth.
yeah, like never do we really play games. And it's like a lot of people are here, but like, I want to. They say, I would be really good at playing, games, or I want to play. I'm making
Yeah,
games, or I want to make games because I love playing games. And it's like,
yeah,
no, that's like saying, just because you're good at FIFA, you're gonna bend you like Beckham. It ain't happening.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like it's when the doctor is at work. When he comes home, he doesn't want to be, you know, being the doctor, playing doctors when he comes home. Either. But there's some guys in my class. We started off in first year. We all wanted to be game developers, but
Hmm.
by the end of fourth year, there's some guys I was talking to there when we graduated in summertime. I met them in the gym, and the guy was saying, I never want to see game development ever again. and he just wants a software engineer job. And like a lot of people have been put off game development from. Now I don't know whether it was the college that I went to was terrible, or it's just that the fact that the modules we had was so tough, and we had to make our own 3D engines, 2D engines. I think I
I
was telling you
remember
this.
that.
Yeah, so it's yeah. So anybody out there, and I've got a few comments like just even from family as well. They're saying, "Oh, you're living the life. You have the best life ever. You're making games. But
And
nobody
you're working
see.
from home, you're working remote. I remember that's
Yeah,
when I used to always get, like, before COVID, I used to
yeah,
be like, yo, you're working from home, you see, it's super easy, you can do whatever you want.
yeah.
It's like, no, I've still got to
No,
work. I've still got stuff to do.
exactly.
And it's like, it's when COVID hit and I had friends that had to, everyone had to, but like, I remember friends that had to work from home all day, every day for a good amount of time. And they was like, oh, I'm hating it, I can't handle it. And it's like, it ain't so easy, is it?
No, and sometimes it's worse being at home as well because it's like being in prison. I mean you're in these four walls all the time. So you're working in these four walls, you're eating in these four walls, you're living in these. It's just like, sure, hey, why not go to prison? So like you can't beat going to the brick work, like going to the building. I don't mind doing. We're some days remote and some days in the office, which is going to be soon. I think that's what the guy was saying to me. So it'll be hybrid. That's actually good. You're getting out of the house as well.
Mm. Yeah, I think people. I think for a lot of jobs out there, remote can be done and it is good. But I mean, it depends on the individual as well. Some people really thrive at being in the office all the time and they need that. They need that social interaction. And then some people, don't want it. Like, it brings them down.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think
true.
I'm generally more of that person. I'm
Mm.
not an office guy per se,
Yeah, I'm a bit like
but
that myself. Yeah,
I do like the ability to have some social interaction. But again, it's for me, it's trying to find something outside of work, some social
yeah,
interaction, and just trying to
yeah,
organize stuff with friends. I know that's super difficult. They're busy, you're busy, and obviously they're not all necessarily living close by as well. So it's just, yeah, it's a difficult one. It's something that, I mean, it's life in general. It's stuff that I think anyone in any top part of their life, time of their life, that they'll experience something like that when you get older. You have commitments, and certain things that you want to do, you just can't do for whatever reason, and it just, yeah, it becomes more difficult. But you gotta find a way of keeping that alive in you.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
it. It's all about like making the next day motivation, like motivating again, because it's hard to, like, if you're doing the same thing every single day, like it's important to keep yourself motivated. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. So, do you have? I mean, I think you've basically alluded to it, but I'll ask you again just to make sure. Do you have a dream company to work at, and why? Why and what would you like to do there?
In Ireland, I suppose there's I think Epic Games are here, and Riot Games in Dublin. So being realistic, I would say either Riot Games or Epic Games, and I'd like to have a job where it makes a difference. Maybe I'm programming something like the mechanics for a game, for AAA game, like being involved. I'm not saying I do that myself, but if I was part of that team that was actually making the character player run, or make like the jump mechanics and shooting mechanics, I would like to be that kind of role in. Yeah,
Okay, that's
you
good.
know.
And how did you find COVID? That whole, obviously we're kind of still in it in a way. It still hasn't gone away, but like, how did you find COVID initially, and especially considering it forced a lot of people to work remotely, or had huge disruptions to their lives? I remember 2020 when it first went down, and it's crazy to think that virtually no one was allowed out unless you were shopping or allowed out for exercise. And I remember going on walks, how quiet it felt. It felt like on in a mid week on a busy road, or what would have been a busy road, it felt like a secluded neighborhood on a Christmas morning. Like, it felt quiet, and
Yeah,
I could like feel and smell and like almost like taste the difference in the air. Like there was less pollution. Like there was like literally no cars. You would like you would maybe see one car. Like it was so rare. Like how did you find that whole thing?
like the apocalypse.
Yeah,
Um,
literally. But it wasn't as fun. But oh, I mean,
yeah,
yeah, it wasn't as quite as entertaining.
yeah, you couldn't blow a shotgun any zombies' heads off or anything.
No.
I found that part the peacefulness was very de-stressing. It was very relaxing. I actually didn't mind. I liked COVID in some ways because it was like the town wasn't as busy, and I probably sound like probably like a fucking maniac here, but I actually liked it a bit.
I did
Um,
like the aspect of it. Certain things weren't as busy.
yeah, that was I didn't mind like the masks was like, let's say I had a pimple on my face, the masks was brilliant. Like it just like, especially getting into college and you wearing a mask was brilliant. You didn't feel self conscious with a few spots, but like other than that, that it got itchy. Eventually, like that started to annoy me. Like it was okay for maybe 6 months, but then when it's getting into the second year, it got a bit okay. I want to go back to normality now. You know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And do you have any family members or close family friends that are developers? And did that influence your decision to become one at all?
No, I didn't have any family members that were developers. More musicians because I was really big into music in my 20s, and my older brother was a, singer songwriter, so I kind of took over his footsteps, writing songs and on the guitar and everything. So, but I suppose that music would have got me into making the music for the games that way, but not directly, but probably indirectly through music, I think.
Okay, sounds good. Would you ever, switch careers?
No, well, no, I wouldn't because I've actually just switched to this. So
Yeah.
no, this is the last rodeo, for me. No, I've switched to this, and I think I'm going to keep going with this for the moment. Anyway, that's how I feel about it.
Okay. And like just linking back to that, just to push on that a bit more, how much more would you need, or how much would you need to earn to make you switch careers? Like, is there something that would entice you?
Well, even just the entry level for software engineer that enticed me. I mean, it's 40,000, which is in Ireland. Minimum wage is probably 19,000.
Right.
Uh, so like just like I don't want to sound like a greedy bear, like money in it for the money. Like that is good too, but I like programming now anyway. So yeah,
Yeah. Okay. And is it the euro that's in circulation in Ireland?
yes, the
Yeah,
euro.
euro. So okay. And do you code? Again, I know you're just going for your job, but like, did you code outside of uni? I know you briefly touched on it, but like, how did you find that coding outside on outside of what you was coding because you had to do it for school or that job that you had? How did you find that experience? Like, do you enjoy it as much?
Um, I actually did. When I was doing my work placement, I was a bit, the normal nerves you do in your first programming job. I was nervous for two reasons. Maybe I won't even. Maybe after changing this career now, maybe I will not like it. So I was afraid of, apprehensive of that, and I was also thinking, what if I'm not good enough? You get this kind of imposter syndrome too, thinking, okay, like who am I? I don't deserve this, and thinking I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. But once you get into it, I actually liked it, and I was happy with that I did it because it felt good that you're given a task, to fix this problem, and then when you fixed it. Like you mean like what? Like that's just like clicking the endorphins straight to your brain. You know, like you get that fix of okay, yeah, I'm about to fix something for somebody for a company, and so yeah, I was happy with that. I liked it.
Oh yeah, the feeling of just solving something like that.
Yeah,
It's unparalleled. Actually,
yeah,
this was a question that I wanted to ask before, but I forgot, so I didn't. Well, I didn't ask because I didn't remember. But because when I interact with you for the first time, my first exposure to your creative skills was your art stuff. Like a pixel pat online on YouTube. It's a and you do a lot of pixel art on there. So
yeah.
how do you find that compared to programming? 'Cause usually you get one or the other, but you're good at you're good at doing artwork, and you've done coding for a good amount of time. You've got a degree in coding, so you're a good coder as well. So that's usually a rarity to have both.
Yeah, it's funny you asked that because at the start, maybe five years ago, I I was thinking if I want to make games, I want to do my own art. I want to do my own programming. I want to do my own sound. Okay, that was 5 years ago. But now,
Yeah,
5 years later, like that was the idea. Okay, I wanted to become pixel artist. And so then eventually I could just like make everything myself. But now, I've kind of changed my mind where okay, I'm gonna probably just stick to be programmer. Because you know yourself. We would all do the roles you have to do as an indie. I think I just like going to build a small team. Um, okay, I probably will. I still like pixel art, and I will probably make UIs stuff like that and things like that. But as far as like, I think it's impossible for anybody to do one total art role and then do the total programming role and not get burnt out and not fucking you know, get mentally demotivated
yeah,
because, um, for example, if I have to draw a whole scene in pixel art, okay, my hand will be when you're doing it for the whole day, drawing the whole day, your hands in bits, so then you're out for 2 days, and then you do programming for the whole day, and then by the time you go back, you don't even want to do art then because Jesus, I don't want to get a sore hand again. And
yeah.
it's just there's little things in that you don't really think about, because you just want to, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. You're so excited, but you don't really think
Mm.
logically about it at the start. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was the question I wanted to ask. So you obviously touched on that you went to university. What specifically did you study? Obviously, I know it's some sort of programming degree, but like, what's the exact title?
It was computing in games development.
Okay, so it's a pretty similar to, I mean, identical to what I did because I did computer game programming. Obviously, different universities will have a different,
Slightly different
name
name,
for it, but yeah, I mean, it sounds exactly the same.
but
And
like
what made
like
you
like
do that instead of like a regular computer science, software engineering degree?
I chose it because I thought. Now I'm doing thought in inverted commas, okay, with my two fingers. Like bunny ears. I
Yeah,
thought it would. I thought it would be fun, more fun than the computer science course. How wrong was I? But but look, it's done now, and I'm glad I get it through that fire. There was probably only one module every semester that was about games. The rest was, yourself, like you have calculus, fucking AI, you have neural networks, you have all that easy stuff.
yeah, regular computer science stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they're the same with me when I was at uni. The first year, three of the four modules were computer science, so we sat with computer science students, and only one was games. In the second year, I think it was split three, one for games and one for
yeah,
computer science, and then the final year it was two compulsory modules which were games, and then the
yeah,
other two you could choose. You could choose to make them games, or you could choose to make them
yeah.
regular computer science. I chose to make them all games, but so yeah,
Same.
you could have up to a 50-50 split at my degree for regular computer science and game programming. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to know some of those foundational skills as well. Like code,
That's true.
knowing C++ is knowing C++. It's only after that you know how to do variables, decision making loops, all that stuff. That you can be like, okay, I can. build a game on top
Yeah.
of it. I can integrate a framework like SFML, but before that, you've got to, know how to code in C++.
Yeah. That's
Okay,
true.
so
Like it was a great foundation into program, and actually not only foundation, but like it was definitely intermediate and then expert level at the end. But so yeah, it
yeah.
was good.
Would you recommend uni to people?
And see, there's a big debate out here. It's people are either saying Godot, Godot for 2D games and Unity for 3D. Because Godot or
Oh
Godot,
no,
many people say,
let me just stop you. I
yeah,
think you thought I said, would you recommend Unity to people?
yeah, that
I
okay.
meant, would you recommend university to people?
Uh okay, yeah, uni. All right, sorry, yeah. I would, yes, I would because you're getting that. Like, it's unfortunate the way you have to do this just for a piece of paper, okay?
Yes.
But I recommend it because with this paper and degree, now I'm getting the opportunity to go and apply for software engineer jobs. Whereas if I didn't have it, I would have to do it another way. I'm not saying you can't do it, but I've heard of people who will build a portfolio and will go through that way.
Mm.
But I think it's like the recruiters and employers, they're impressed when they see you have a degree. Well, that's what they've said to me anyway. They've said that
They are, yes.
that's great, so um, well done, and that's obviously you're interested in this because you've spent 4 or 5 years doing this. So well, that's my point of view. Like, it's obviously different for everybody, but because I've after doing it, spend the 5 years doing it, I'm obviously going to say do it, because otherwise that would be like I'm just wasting my time. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so yeah, I think it's worth it. Well, it is and it isn't. It's worth it if. Well, look, you said earlier on, you're getting the foundation, and you're learning exactly what you learn in computer science. So it's just the same as if you were home for 5 years learning programming. It's the same thing, but you're actually getting motivated with your peers, and you're getting motivation from your teachers as
Yeah.
well. So it depends on everybody.
Yeah, and there's some accountability as well. I know university is a lot sort of looser than school in terms of
There
keeping
is
on
accountability.
teachers,
Yeah, that's
keeping on
true.
top of students, but you still got deadlines. You've got
Assignments.
assignments.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got exams. You got a structure to go through.
it doesn't
Whereas
let
yes,
you
you can.
procrastinate at all. You have to do it. Yeah,
Yeah, like that come, I don't know, 20th of December, you've got to hand in your Christmas assignment. Like
yeah,
you know that, and most people won't get an extension. So it's ride or die for that. Whereas when you're at home doing it, you're like, I don't feel like it
yeah.
today. I'll put it off, and
And
before you
then
know it, 4 years
it's
pass, 10 years
six
pass.
six months has gone, a year has
Yeah,
gone,
I,
and
I,
yeah,
I see. I mean, I've seen in my life where time passes, but I see it in people's, because I'm 30 years old now, I'm almost
mm,
31. I've seen it where, like, 10, 15, 20 years later, they if they had just done that thing, had that
yeah.
hardship for 6 to 12 months,
Where would
they
we
would
be
have been
now?
in a much better position. Like back
Yep.
then, they would have said, "Oh, no, it's too late for me," just because it's they would be a couple of years behind their peers. But now it's like 10, 15 years, 20 years later when they're married, they got family, they got commitments. Damn, it is. It's not too late, but it's a lot later now and a lot harder. I mean, obviously you've done it, and obviously
And it wasn't
kudos to you
easy.
for doing it. Yeah, of course it isn't. It's definitely easier for someone in my position that did it when they're 18, when they got more energy as well. They got a
Yeah,
lot less to lose, and but it can be a motivator as well. To be
yeah,
fair, when you are a bit older, and you find the ones that do go to university that are older. I don't know the statistics, but I would say as a percentage, more of them probably pass. More of them probably do. Respectively better, just because when you're 18, it's just a thing you do. You go to university. So,
yeah,
they were all, everyone that, out of the people that I knew that dropped out, they were the younger ones. They were the ones that partied, that didn't have dependencies. The
yeah,
few, older ones that I knew, they didn't, drop out. They did work. They did submit assignments. Not all of them necessarily got the top grades, but they got decent grades. Like, they put the work in. And yeah, it comes with maturity, and it comes with knowing that, okay, damn, I've got to work hard for my family now.
Was did many drop out after the first and second, third, fourth, like percentagely, like did by the end of fourth year, how how much percentage of of the people that were there in first year in your course dropped out by the end of fourth year?
I mean, I don't know the exact percentage because obviously I don't have the numbers, but it was a big chunk. It wasn't like, 1 out of 100. It
Yeah,
was, I remember the class sizes were smaller and there was less classes. There was like,
yeah,
it was enough that there was a huge reduction.
it was
And
noticeably, yeah,
yeah, it was a noticeable reduction. I remember in first year there was like so many people
yeah,
there, and even like on a niche course of games programming compared to computer science. But then like by second year, a decent chunk went out, and by
yeah.
third year,
Third
it was
year,
not that many people left.
yeah. It was kind of better as well. Like as I got on, there it got more closer. I found with my peers that like we started to get to know each other more by third year,
Oh
fourth year.
yeah,
Just because
definitely.
like those smaller groups and we're all in early in teams together, and like we're in first year like. Like there's some guys maybe would never talk to the whole day or the whole year because they'd be sitting way far away and like in different groups, and like it was definitely a lot more personal and toward the fourth year, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember in final year, I made friends with a few people that I wouldn't have, like, they was there in my first and second year, and I
Yeah,
generally did not speak to them. Like for, and I think partly it's because the people they were hanging around with at the time, like it wasn't my jam, and they
yeah,
either dropped out or they didn't do a placement, and as a result, because they didn't do a placement, they finished a year before we did. So by the time we had our final year, they was in working at that time or out of uni. So there was that. So yeah, I remember talking to people. Plus, yeah, because like you said, the groups got smaller,
yeah.
so
It was easier.
there wasn't that many people to talk to left. Before you had
Yeah,
your own mini groups within the group. Now there was just the
yeah,
group,
yeah,
just the class, just the course. The everything on there.
yeah.
Yeah, it is insane when you see the people dropping off. Okay, so
Okay.
what myths about programming did you have before you started programming?
Well, one of the myths was I thought that only hackers and really intelligent people could do it, and like it just seemed so like such a niche subject, and that there's no way that I'd be able to learn that or nobody can learn that. Like it's only for the elite programmers or something.
Yeah.
But like you just understand that just like any other language, you put anything else, you put your mind to it, anybody can learn it.
Yeah. Okay. And do you keep up with the latest trends, advances, and programming languages, in this field? And
Yeah,
how do you do it?
um, I suppose uh, being an indie game developer, you kind of learn by watching a lot of YouTube videos, because that seems to be the like that is the trend, isn't it? YouTube tutorials and
For sure.
um, yeah. So I would keep up to date with the Unity updates as well, because sometimes Unity will add a new kind of framework, even like they have the dots framework now, data oriented uh, technology update. They have a new input system, so I'm kind of keep up with the Unity's package managers, the way they add new packages and stuff. Just through the Unity uh, asset store, or else just through finding out on YouTube.
Okay. I know you mentioned Unity a few times. I know Unity is your jam. Why Unity instead of Unreal? Did you just learn it at uni and that's what you rolled with, or is it something else or partly both?
I we learned Unity in fourth year. We got a chance to use an engine. Thank God. Like all the other times we had to bake our own engine. So in fourth year, it was such a relief to use an engine, and it happened to be Unity. And I spent so many hours and so much time in the documentation for Unity that I was thinking, okay, I have to stick with this now because this is what I put blood into this thing, into learning this engine. So why change it and then spend another month or two learning another one? And like, it just, I suppose I'm sticking with it because it's the one I know the most. And yeah, I don't want to break my flow by having to learn another engine while I have goals to make games at the moment. It would break the flow of that.
Yeah, of course, of course. That's good. So that's it for the more serious questions. I've got a few just sort of fun, generic questions.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we'll go through them. Would you rather run a 10-person company or a 1,000-person company, and why?
Um, I suppose a 10-person company would be more personal, wouldn't it? You get that sense of a
Yeah,
family, which can be good and bad. Like, if someone is not getting on with somebody, you might have tension in the whole company that could be bad. Whereas if it's a 1,000 person company, it would be more professional. I guess, and you could structure it more professionally, and have all the departments to look after, uh, like HR and all that stuff, and PR. And yeah, I think you could probably let other people do the work for you. Like, you could have people under you to look after the people more, and you would have more of a uh, not an easy role, but I suppose every kind of situation would be hard in its own way. I'm sure, like, you couldn't, if you're 1,000 people, I'm sure you couldn't just let somebody run it and just leave and never come back and just check in once a year. But I mean, it would be, from the point of view of kind of personal stress. I think it'd be easier with a 1,000 person company. You know,
okay, that's interesting. So and I understand your reason. What you're saying. So you say you think it would be less stressful to run a 1,000-person company because
yeah,
it'd be more structured, and because by that time, but if you've got 1,000 people, it's going to be the money's coming in. It's a lot more. It's a
that
well-oiled machine most likely compared to a 10-person, let's say, startup, where
that's
one
what I'm
person
thinking.
leaving is
Yeah.
like 10% of your workforce just gone like that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking like it'd be more structured, and it'd be maybe more self sufficient. And because I'm sure if
Yeah.
it's 10 people in the company, you'd have to do a lot more hands on. You probably would never get a break. You'd be trying to manage everybody, and
Yeah.
you know,
And because you could almost manage everybody, you would do it. Whereas with 1,000 people, you would
yeah,
soon realize that you
yeah,
can't. So because of that, you would either sink or swim. You would either
yeah,
fail because you don't get out of it, or you would learn, okay, you can't manage everyone, so you're not gonna try. Whereas with a 10-person company, because you kind of can, you could get away with doing it, even though that might not be the most efficient thing to do. You could do it and it
yeah.
could kind of work. So yeah, I understand what you mean.
And you just
Okay,
hand it off to somebody else. Like make someone in charge of that
yeah,
of that development group. Yeah.
of course. And okay, this will be an interesting question. I love asking this one and getting the
Okay.
answer for this one. Does money buy you happiness?
Oh, do you know what's funny enough? My daughter and myself had this conversation maybe 4 days ago. I think she asked me, like, we were in the park. She asked me that question. I can't believe it. She's 9 years old. She asked me the question. Maybe the teacher said it to her, or somebody was talking in school about her. But she asked me, "Daddy, would you prefer money or happiness?" She said the same thing, and she's just coming in now. Uh, and I was thinking, do you know what? If I had money, I said to her, I says, if I have money, I can buy happiness. I could buy friends. I could buy this. I said that to her, and she says to me, "No, but Daddy, you can't buy happiness." And it's like, I was thinking, and she said something. I can't remember what she said exactly, but she kind of persuaded me that Daddy, happiness is more important and all that. But so I think, yeah, I would go with happiness, because if you're happy, then you're happy no matter what, and you wouldn't care if you had money or not.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
But would you so you don't think money can buy you happiness then?
Okay, money buy happiness? I think it can buy happiness, but it would be temporary happiness. For example, you could buy you could another way you can buy somebody to be a friend for the day, or you can but it'd be temporary. You'd
Yeah.
always you go home, and then you always think, okay, tomorrow I have to buy some more happiness. You have to keep buying the happiness. I don't think it's permanent.
Yeah. Okay. Um so what would you say? 5 million upfront or 500,000 a year for the rest of your life?
5 million up front, is it?
Yeah, or half a million a year for the rest of your life.
Oh, that's an
Which
easy
would you
one.
choose and why?
That's easy. Definitely, 500,000 a year.
Okay.
Definitely, yeah. Because in 10 years you'd have 5 million, and then 10 more years you've doubled your money. That's a no brainer. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
So how about, obviously, if you're not going to ever do anything again that will make money? I understand that perspective. But how about from the perspective of, if let's say you've got 5 million up front, and let's say you just use 100,000 or half a million for that first year, what about putting the rest of it into investments, assets that can make you money? So, like from the start, you've got a lot more to do it, or would you still rather have the
Oh,
guaranteed nature of half a million?
yeah. I didn't look at it that way. That's a good point.
Yeah, because the
But
thing is, could you make more with 5 million over a 10-year period than just half a
uh,
million every year? So 5 million, because obviously every 10 years with half a million, you're guaranteed 5 million. But this in there's inflation. So obviously this is just always half a million a year. Again, still a lot of money, still a good amount, still good to have. But with the 5 million, could you make that, turn that 5 million in 10 years into 20, into 10? And then could you turn that 20 into 40, 50? And the thing
yeah.
is, would you even want to? That's the other thing.
Yeah, but that also goes back to the other question: does money buy you happiness? Like, what is the goal? Like, if your goal is to make like 100 million, then yeah, that would be the way. But like, what it all depends on why and what would you want to, like, why do you want to get that money, and what is it for? Are you going to, you know, build property and sell it? And also you'd have to know what to invest your 5 million in, because not everybody knows that, like how to invest their money. Not many people know, okay, which stock market to invest in. So from that point, like, for the casuals who just live in their life, they're not into stock market or into property ladders, 500,000 would be great. But then for the people that's into stock markets and into developments, and 5 million would be the option. It depends on who is has the money, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's a good answer because obviously, I mean, I used to be like, okay, it's definitely clicker. He has to be, one way or the other. But
Yeah,
like, yeah, you're right. It depends on the person. Depends on what they want to do. Some people depends on what position in their life they are.
yeah,
They're at. If let's say they're 20 years old, then it might be like. But again, if they're 20 but they don't really want to work again, then the half a million one is better. But if they're
yeah,
20 and they've got energy and they don't care about, buying stuff now,
yeah.
then the 5 million one might be
Andrew
better. But
Tate.
again, if they never get it again, like if you choose the 5 million, they might blow it again. They might try and invest it, but they might lose it all. And
Yeah,
then as a result, they'll never get more again. So yeah, it does depend on your risk tolerance, your position in life, what you want to achieve, and I guess family as well. So like all that sort of stuff.
it also depends on age and stage of your life. If you're
Yes.
70 years old, take the 5 million any day.
Oh
If you're
yeah,
20,
because
20 years old, and like you said yourself, you don't really care, and maybe you're not knowledgeable in the stock markets, 500 grand as for a 20-year-old, brilliant.
oh yeah, still great, and you could mess up for 5 years running, and you're still gonna get another half a million every
Yeah.
year after that. So you could learn on the job and still mess up, and you'll be fine.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
it's a good
Favorite
question.
board game.
Whew. I like I My favorite and my worst is Monopoly. Okay.
That's my favorite as
Um,
well.
yeah. Monopoly because favorite because just everything about it, the concept. You know, when you play it for the hour, the first hour is the best when you're trying to trade and everything. But then it's the late stages of the game that can get, depends who you're playing with too. Like as a kid, there could be some fights over stealing the money from the bank and all that stuff. Like some fights with cousins and things that we used to have but it was a great crack. Yeah, it's a great concept, and sometimes you can change the rules. Like you can, if somebody pays tax, you put it on the parking thing. So then whoever gets, and you're always waiting to get onto the parking sign to get all the tax money. That is a classic. But if it's in a board game that's not really a classic, have you ever played the Game of Life?
I mean, rings a bell. Don't think so. The Game
Um,
of Life.
Game
For
of
some reason, it
Life.
rings a bell so much, and I feel like I played it, but
That's a
well,
great
video
game.
game or board game?
It's a board game where you start your life uh, as a child, and you work your way up through getting a career, and you get married and you have pick what children you want, their names. You grow and you spin the wheel of life, and depending on what number you get different luck. Okay, so did you get the promotion? Did you not get the promotion? Depends on the luck of the spinning the wheel, and that was an interesting one as a kid as well.
I'm pretty sure I've got. I'm just looking at an image of it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've got one of the old MB Games version on my shelf. We got like a whole board game shelf downstairs, and like over the last year, we went on like sort of Facebook Marketplace runs. Me and my wife did, just getting
Yeah.
them cheap, just getting them used, and we just get loads of them. We haven't played them all. I think we got two copies of Game of Life actually on
Yeah,
there. I think so. It doesn't. I
it's
will
a
play
classic.
that.
You probably have played it. If you type in Hasbro game, uh, uh, the Game of Life family board game Hasbro, yeah, you'll see it. But Cluedo was a great. Or Clue's another great classic board game, isn't it? Where you have to find them who done it. The mystery was it the candlestick with Colonel Mustard?
Oh,
Uh, you
Colonel
know,
Mustard with a candlestick.
and Scarlet, Miss Scarlet, in the piano room or something with the lead pipe. That was a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
What about
remember.
yourself? Monopoly. You like Monopoly, do you?
Yeah, Monopoly is my favorite one.
Oh, it's class. I have every version of that on, even on the PlayStation. I've got the Monopoly game as well. We play that. The family is great. It's a great family game too. But like,
Yeah.
we never get to the end. It's
You-
either somebody leaves because they're upset, or else.
It's
But it's
taking too
part of the fun.
long
Yeah,
because once you got like more than two pair players, and that's when it's fine. Like three, four players,
yeah,
it takes a long time. I'm
but
always a guy like let's finish it, let's finish it. It's 4
yeah,
a.m. Let's finish it.
yeah,
Let's
same.
finish it. I don't care if I'm losing, but I want to finish it. I don't
Yeah,
like to
I'm the
lose,
same. Yeah,
especially in Monopoly, but
I
I
like to
want to.
finish the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas my wife's like, she's all pumped up to to play
yeah,
it, and then she just
Like
wants to leave the game, and then
yeah,
the game just ends.
yeah. I'm the same. My wife she probably an hour is okay for her. She wouldn't anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite video game.
Favorite video game. Well, I would have to, of all time. Is it?
Yeah.
Would be Skyrim would be up there.
Okay. I
Um,
remember when that came out. I was at uni, second year of uni.
2009, I think it was.
Yeah. Um.
I actually
No.
I called in sick to work for a week to play that game. I remember that I was in the bed, so that's how much at the time I loved that game. On PlayStation 3.
Oh yeah, I remember getting that for PC. Me and my friends went out for my birthday to the cinema and to get some food, and I remember just popping into game because it hadn't shut yet, and I bought a couple of Angry Bird, you know, soft toys,
Yeah,
and bought Skyrim as well. I was just like, buy Skyrim as well, and yeah, it
yeah,
was an enjoyable game. I might get
it's a
it
banger.
on. I might download it on my Steam Deck and play
Oh,
it on that. But
yeah, I
I
was
do
gonna
want to
say,
get the is it the special edition or the remastered one?
uh, do you have Elder Scrolls Online for PC?
I briefly, played it. I think mainly when
Yeah.
it was in beta, I had a look at it.
Yeah. I got that on Steam for about five euro. I think it's 30 or 35 euro, but I got it on Steam for Christmas for €5, and I haven't played it. I'm still waiting to find people who play Elder Scrolls Online. I haven't played it, but I knew I would get it because in the future I will play it. But
Yeah,
that's a game that I want to play.
yeah. I'm not too sure if I've got that maybe as part of a previous Humble bundle or some other bundle because I've got so many games on my Steam library and they haven't
N-
all
Haven't even
been
been played.
individually brought,
Yeah,
bought. They've been,
yeah,
from a bigger collection. So I mean, it's
yeah.
possible that I might already have Elder Scrolls Online. They do on PC, possibly.
I've got loads of games on Steam I haven't even played.
Yeah, I know.
I
It's
just
like,
I just I just you just get them on sale because I think okay in a few months I'll play it.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Um,
Okay. So, what video game are you looking forward to the most?
it will either be Bethesda's Starfield. It's a bit like No Man's Sky, but it's
Yeah.
be Bethesda kind of version. Or GTA 6. I can't wait for
Oh
that.
yeah. I mean, I just want an announcement because it's not coming out this year. We definitely
Yeah.
know that. I mean, do you think it's even gonna come out next year, or do you think they're gonna stretch to 2024?
Well, see why from the company's point of view, why would they push why would they crunch to get this game out when they have so many fans of GTA 5? See that's a problem with game development as well. Is that if you make a game that's too addictive and too good, all you have to do is just keep giving out DLCs and just keep
Yeah.
fucking feeding off this monster. So the thing is, people have to stop playing GTA 5 for them to get a push. Okay, we have to do
Of
GTA
course, and
6.
they've released the PS5 version. I think they'll probably gauge the sales and the response of the PS5 GTA 5, which I think have been good, and then maybe decide to do a Red Dead Redemption 2 PS5 remaster, and then be like, okay, then
Uh,
maybe GTA 6 on the PS6.
Oh, yeah. Actually, you just reminded me. Red Dead Redemption 2 You asked me what game can I not wait to play. Uh, yeah, I played Red Dead 2 when it came out first, but I only got as far as maybe the halfway point, and ever since then, of talking to people about it, and they always keep telling me the story is amazing.
It
Just
is the
play the
end. I
end.
won't spoil
Yeah,
it, but the ending.
everybody's telling me about the ending. So that you just remind me. Yeah, it will be Red Dead 2. I want to play that this year. Finish it.
Oh yeah, like, I want to play that again. The thing is, I want to play on my big TV downstairs, like on the PlayStation, but
Nice
it's
and
not
chill.
60 frames a second. The PS4 version isn't, and they isn't a PS5 upgrade for it. So it's
Yeah.
that's the big issue that I have. I want to play it, but I don't want to play at 30 frames. I've already played it once, but I want a silky smooth. I don't care about better graphics. If they release better graphics, better textures, high resolution, great. I will gladly accept it. But I just want a smooth 60 frames per second experience.
Oh,
Even if I need to get it on my Xbox, I'm happy. But I just want to be able
yeah.
to sit there on the big TV, just grab a controller, not setting up my computer to play it. So that's what I would like. Oh, but Red Dead Redemption 2, oh my god, so good.
So you probably wait for Red Dead 2 to come out on PlayStation 5 then, 60 frames per second.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it'll depend on how successful GTA 5 does. If that does well, I
Yeah.
feel like they'll release a Red Dead Redemption 2 remaster in the next year, maybe two, but next year or
Yeah.
so. I think they'll gauge the response. But yeah, GTA 5
Well,
already. I mean, it's made over $10 billion in total, so
whoa.
they're gonna keep rocking it.
Of course, yeah. And why wouldn't you? Like that's a good business manager there. Why
Oh
not?
yeah.
But
Okay.
I didn't know that Red Dead 2 had only 30 frames per second, and it's strange. You would think that a game that has a lot of movement and a lot of horse riding, that is literally GTA Wild West, isn't it? It's just like GTA but back
Yeah,
in
it
the West.
is.
And it's 30. I didn't know it was 30 frames per second. I didn't really notice on the PS4. Maybe I don't know. But the gameplay was really really good anyway.
Yeah, so I mean, because it was, it's a PS4 game and it had no upgrade to it.
Yeah.
So obviously on PS4, and because how good the graphics do look, like the difference on PS4 of the GTA 5 PS4 and the Red Dead Redemption 2 PS4 is insane because obviously Red Dead Redemption 2 was made from the ground up for PS4. GTA
Yeah.
5 was made from the ground up for PS3, and then it was upgraded for PS4 and then PS5. In many ways, Red Dead Redemption 2 still looks better than GTA 5 on PS5.
Wow.
So
Didn't.
like
Yeah.
it's because it was made from the ground up for that console.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really do want a 60 frames per second mode, smoother. Unfortunately, it's locked to 30 frames per second on
Yeah.
the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox.
Yeah. And you play a lot of PlayStation 5, so you'd probably know. Whereas me, I don't have a PlayStation 5, so I wouldn't really notice it. But you'd probably notice if you're playing PS5 and then you go to play a PS4 game, you'd probably notice it straight away, the difference
Yeah,
in
more
frame
so
rates. You
for
know.
most of the games. The odd one like Ghost of Tsushima and Uncharted 4, it's less noticeable. But obviously, I know that they're PS4 games, but if I didn't,
Yeah.
and just the graphics of it, you wouldn't notice as much. The other thing is, depends on what PS4 you're talking about. Like the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. Like the
Oh
games
yeah.
on PS4, they ran at 30 frames per second, a lot of the high end ones. But for PS4 Pro, like Uncharted 4, Ghost of Tsushima, they had 60 frames per second modes.
Mm.
So you got a silky smooth frame rate, you got higher resolution, it looked better. So it was because it was an intermediary to PS5. So you had a better experience with it. So yeah, it does depend on the game. Some
Yeah.
games, yeah, you think you'd be like, well, because I played Ghost of Tsushima on the PS5, even though it's a PS4 game, I was like, I never played the M4. This is just a PS4 game, and it's not on the level of PS5 games. I was thinking, damn, this is better than most PS5 games, and it's a PS4 game.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it
so
all depends on the company who's making it, isn't it?
oh
You
yeah,
know.
of course, of course. I like talking about companies, and I know you was saying you love Rockstar and love their games. Like, what's your opinion on crunch in the gaming industry? It's definitely prevalent in the gaming industry, and how certain companies, I think Rockstar has been known for it, for being
Yeah.
super harsh and super hard on their employees. With crunch time.
Is I've heard a lot about the crunch, and lot of us, like, we used to have conversations about this in all through college. So I kind of know a good bit about it from like objectively and subjectively, but not personally. Um, I think from what I heard anyway, I think it's off putting to be a game developer. When you hear this, it puts me off applying for a game development job, which is probably why a lot of people just settle. Okay, we're going to just be a software engineer, um, due to the crunch. Because I know there is crunches in software engineering jobs as well, but I don't think it's as bad. So yeah, it's kind of off putting, and I hope that the industry grows and deals with this better and looks after their employers more.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, like, how's your opinion on? Because I know people that will be like, I won't play this game from this developer because they're known for how they are with crunch. And I usually find the ones that are like that are programmers themselves, so they get a bit more, sort of
Yeah,
emotional about it than somebody who's a known programmer. But how's your opinion? Well, for me, I'm judging it based on the game more so than okay,
yeah.
so a company happened to have crunch, and therefore I'm not gonna buy it.
No, I don't care
So
about that. No, I don't think when I'm buying a game, the last thing that comes across my mind is, was the company like, did the programmers go through a crunch? No, I don't.
yeah,
Hell no, I don't fucking care about that.
I know.
I just judge the
You just want
game.
GTA 6.
Exactly. Who gives a fuck? Yeah, crunch away. Come on, get that game for me.
Yeah, maybe that's the issue. They're not crunching enough. And then
Yeah,
GTA 6 is just staying at GTA 5 online.
they have to
Oh,
crunch more. Come on,
yeah, they need to crunch some more.
me
Okay.
and you, we want that game. Come on.
Yeah, we do. Oh my god. Can't wait for that game. Or whatever the next GTA is. I
Yeah,
wouldn't mind. Like, this is the thing. if they're not going to release a new one yet, I I wouldn't mind if they released, because I don't play the online that much. I wouldn't mind if they released a single player DLC like they would the way they did with GTA 4. Charge for it, I don't mind. Like if they make a expansion that's like a
A full
third,
game. Yeah,
of the length of the game, charge me a third of the price. I don't mind. Like
yeah,
I I don't have a problem with. I don't want it for free. I'll have it for free, but I'm not expecting it for free. But it's like then I. But the thing is, obviously, the single player stuff doesn't make the money as much as the online, so they're not focusing on it, unfortunately.
yeah. That's it. It's all about what the customer is focusing on. If they're focusing on this side, they're gonna go all in. Like they kind of go all in. These companies, it's never we'll do a bit here and a bit there. So yeah,
Yeah, of course, of course. Okay, so we're basically nearing the end of the podcast now.
yeah.
What advice would you give as a developer to other developers or aspiring developers?
I would say don't do it. No, seriously, I would say just start. This is so cliche, really. It sounds like I'm just repeating from one of these guru videos, but start small. It's a cliche, but get a full game done, get the menu done, get the small guy where just a small thing where the guy just has to reach checkpoint, jump over something, one enemy, and then just get the ending screen, maybe a high score, and then they can like save that to your file, serialize the score. Just get something like that done, and then that's your framework, and build. Then the next game, just use that framework, build another bit of a framework in. Maybe don't do a leaderboard the first time, do a leaderboard the second game, but use the same thing, and just like give yourself that kind of hit, dopamine hit of finishing something. I'm talking very small. Just get something done over a week or two, and then do a month, and then 3 months. That's what I would say to myself as well, if I had this common sense at the time. Just kind of give yourself a good flow, a challenge and flow. Give you like make sure you're not doing something too hard, and then you're not doing something too easy.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree, with that. Like, baby steps. Have that goal in mind. Like, if it's a big game that you want to make, that's fine. That's good stuff. That's good thing to have in your head.
Yeah,
But yeah, do the small stuff. Like I see so many people they'll say to me like, I want to be, I want to make games. I want to do this. I want to do that. And it's like, what programming languages do you know? Do you know? And they're like, oh, I don't know how to code. I just want to make a game. It's like, no,
yeah,
you got to learn these foundational things. It's like saying, I want to build a mansion, but you've never laid a brick. You've never built a wall. You've never built a small house. Like, I
yeah,
highly doubt that people that work on these big, physical, buildings have never laid a brick or built on worked on a smaller project. It
yeah.
doesn't make sense. Why would
No,
you do this? And they're like, oh, I've just got an idea. I just want to get the idea done. It's like, but it takes skill to get the idea done unless you've got loads of money. And nobody ever has, that asked this question. And
yeah,
even then, you need a different type of skill, and that's managing it. And that's,
yeah,
figuring out what to do and how to do it, but not necessarily doing the code. But you still got to have this different skill. Because I've seen people that have raised money as a startup, like 500,000 plus, and then they blow it all. Like they
because
just
they can't
don't.
manage properly.
Yeah, they can't manage it properly. They just
Yeah,
don't have the structure and the the mindset to manage it. And you think, oh, like they've raised 500,000, they're set in terms of a company, and they're just gonna grow and grow, grow. But the 500,000 goes pretty quickly before you know it if you're
yeah.
not properly managing it.
Oh, like there's so much to do. It's unbelievable. Like there's another thing, managing. Like that's like you know you can have Trello. You have all these kind of managing tools, Notion and Trello. They do help, but like when you're an indie developer, I find Trello for managing. My task and when what I have to do. I find like that can kind of ruin my workflow. But it's also see that's the great thing. If you had somebody who could just manage you and do all that shit, you know, that would be great. But in developer, you have to do it yourself. So that's another. kind of uh, obstacle, I suppose.
Oh yeah, of course, of course. So yeah, that's definitely another obstacle. So yeah, I'm out of questions,
Yeah.
Pat. But is there anything else that you want to discuss or ask or say before we wrap up? Again, I'm happy to continue the podcast, but
Yeah.
obviously I'm out of questions now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quarter 10, and these kids, I have to put these kids to bed. So, um, no, but we can definitely maybe a few months down the road we can have another podcast, talk about and give an update what's going on with us, and you know, for any questions, I suppose I've asked you questions there already, but I suppose the question to you is, how do you find the energy to do all the videos? You do so many videos that it's just like you're a machine or something. I don't know how you where do you find the energy to like you must love it so much, is it that you just is that drives you, or how do you find the energy to keep to do so much content, and it's all different. It's not just the
Mm.
one platform. You're doing so many platforms. So where does that come from?
I mean, for me, it's the funny thing is, I look at what I do, everything that I do, and I think that I'm not doing enough. I say to myself on a daily, regular basis that I know it's not.
Perfectionist,
Yeah, I mean perfectionist, or I'm just not doing enough. I just feel like I wasted this hour today. Just doing this BS thing. Just watching
right?
YouTube videos. Or, I could have made another video, or I could have done this, or I could have read a book, or I could have gone on a
Gotcha.
walk. Just
Yeah,
something else. And I'm like I look
life's
at
too
it
short.
and I'm just not doing enough. But I think as a result, I end up doing more. It's like that saying that I heard a long time ago. Aim for the moon, but if you miss, you land in the stars anyway. So either
Yeah,
way, you're golden. Plus, I think because I've got a family now, it's harder to do stuff because of time constraints. But
yeah,
it does motivate me more. I think that's what happens when you get a family. You like either get
yeah,
sort of numbed down and you just don't do much because it's too much, or you get fully motivated. It's like the
yeah,
funny thing is, I know partly it's because I'm in a better position mentally now, and what I know, just my journey in general is further along. But I've made more money um, after getting married and after having a kid, so it, even though I
motivation.
have less time to contribute, is because it's become a motivating factor. That I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, like when I was not married, I was on my own. I would like eat super cheap. I would eat, just like either from parents, or I would, even though I had, good, some money in the bank, had a good amount of money, and I was earning money. I would like eat, just cans of tuna. Like I would have a bowl of cereal as my dessert, even though I had money to be able to
yeah,
afford some nice food. But I was just going ham like that. But when you get married and you have family, you're like, that's not gonna wash. You're
exactly.
not gonna say to your family like, let's just have some cans of tuna today. You
Yeah,
know, they're gonna want a proper meal, and obviously, rightfully so. And they're gonna want to go out. They're gonna want to do this, and like when you have the means to give it to them, even if you might want to save, you want to give it to them, and that's something I've struggled with, you know, over the last couple of years is adjusting from not being married to being married and then being married with a kid as well. It's like no, okay, it's okay. I've got to obviously give them time, but it's also yeah, more money is gonna get spent or more just in general energy and resources are gonna get committed and devoted to that. But then I'm
yeah,
happy, when I see how happy they are with
yeah,
everything as well.
yeah,
So that I want to, but then that motivates me to make more money. And that's the reason. Like
yeah,
once we've done the podcast, because it's 10 p.m. Here now, I
yeah,
was literally just thinking that I want to go and sit downstairs, have some chill time, watch some TV.
yeah.
But then I'm like,
Same.
I want to do some more work. Then I'm like, okay, I'll watch some TV and I'll catch up on some emails. I'll do some work that I can do whilst watching TV. So it's like it never shuts off. But it does mean that you provide something for your family because I've seen
Yeah,
people older than me that haven't provided much for their family, and it's just because they're lazy. They just don't do stuff. They don't do anything. But again, I don't want to be that, and I think that's what motivates
yeah,
me. Yeah, it does knock me out. So I am
yeah.
tired right now. because I've been
Yeah,
working all day as well. But then I'm like,
it's
I'd
better than
rather
doing
be,
nothing. Yeah,
yeah, better than doing nothing. It keeps me out of trouble.
yeah.
It keeps me focused on stuff. I like to keep busy, and it's a lot. I had more energy 10 years ago, but I know I'm gonna have more energy now than I am gonna probably have in 10 years. And
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 also, you have a daughter now, so you're gonna need money when you want to spoil her. It's
oh
great to
yeah,
have money as well. So that's another motivation too. Get
yeah,
this.
I mean that's like a huge, huge motivation. It's like
Yeah,
I want to go on holidays as a family,
yeah,
buy your stuff,
yeah,
and but then obviously growing up myself. Don't get me wrong, I would say I was a spoiled child, but we didn't have crazy amounts of money. So like I remember when I passed my driving test, I wanted a car and I got promised a car, but we couldn't. Like my parents couldn't afford a car, so they didn't get me a car. And like
yeah,
I remember I got spoiled because got a lot of video games, I got toys and whatnot. But there was a limit. Then I mean I could clearly tell that if I wanted something that was £1,000, it wasn't going to happen.
yeah,
But like if I wanted like a £30 game, yeah, I mean parents would get it. Plus kept me off the streets as
yeah.
well. It kept me at home.
Are you are
It,
you
when
have you many siblings, or was your
I
family
got
that?
two siblings. I'm the youngest. I got a sister
Wow.
that's the middle one, then a brother that's the oldest.
Well, that's not too bad. So your parents didn't really have like three kids is relatively easy. Then like some families a bit 10 kids or something like
Oh
that would be
yeah,
tough
like
tough for them.
oh yeah, tough for them, and they have to just constantly be working as well. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I mean for me, no matter how many kids I have, whether I just have the one, girl, or I have more kids, I just want to
they
make sure that we're good,
yeah,
we're okay, we're comfortable, and she has a good foundation to build off of as well. So like,
yeah,
yeah, I think family has become a huge motivator for me
yeah,
to
yeah.
work in a way that I didn't fully work before, and now I am.
And do you plan to have a big family, or you just you haven't thought about that yet? Or you just going with the
No, I
flow? Is it?
mean, me and my wife have discussed that. I mean, sometimes we say we want more. Sometimes we say we're happy with just the one. So it's like,
When things are easy and the daughter's not crying, yeah, you want more. But then as soon as the daughter
yes.
wakes up in the middle of the night, you're like, no more.
Oh yeah, literally. But the other thing, like, because I remember we was watching a TV show, and me and my wife was, and in there a woman was giving birth, and the birth wasn't so seamless. It was pretty intense. And I remember
Yeah,
my wife was like, no, but like when you see that, I remember those moments. It's like
yeah,
not too sure.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it'd be one of those things
It's
that
traumatic.
we'll see as the years and time passes on if we do
Yeah,
want
you feel
more.
different then. Yeah,
Yeah, so I've always said I'd rather have one or two an amazing kids that I can focus a lot of time on than have
yeah.
five that are mediocre and I can't focus that much time on. So they're
Totally agree. That's yeah. We have two now, and that's it. There's no. We're just focusing on a boy and a girl. If the first one was a girl, if it had been another girl, we probably would have. Okay, let's because I wanted a son. Who like every guy wants a son.
yeah.
As well. So once I have a boy and a girl, that means we can stop now, and that's I'm just gonna like same as you. I just want to focus on two. Better to have two and give them all they want, than have five and just be struggling.
Oh yeah, of course.
To-
So yeah,
totally
that's
agree. Yeah.
basically my stance on it.
All right.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
will let you get off because you got to put your kids
Yeah.
to bed. But I really do appreciate
Yeah.
you coming on. Anyone that's listening, you can hit Pixel Pat on YouTube. I'll actually put a link to his YouTube channel in the description. So
And
whether
Twitch as
you're
well.
on
Like
YouTube or on
I think I'm on
Spotify
Twitch
or
now
something
mostly.
like that.
Yeah.
So you can access his stuff there. He's got some really nice videos where he's creating pixel art, and I just look at it because I'm not that much of an artist. I do want to learn more how
Yeah.
to draw, but like
Yeah.
I look at it and I'm like, oh, because obviously that was my initial view that you was just an artist, but then
Yeah.
when I learned that you're also a coder and you've got a degree in coding as well, so it's like the art is just like in addition to it. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, that's
Yeah.
that's impressive,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Well,
appreciate you coming on,
I appreciate that.
and we'll talk soon. Pat, and
Um,
we'll sort out that spamming issue in the Discord group as well.
yeah, I can't believe the time. It's just like time just flew. Anyway, that
Oh
was
yeah,
good. And
it's one of those. What I'll say before we leave, it's one of those things when you're recording something like this. I remember I did a different podcast like a year ago. It was just called Just Average People. It's just like just anyone on there, and I just
yeah,
stopped doing that one. But like, I
I've listened to
remember
that one.
people that I would ask to do, and they'd be like, "Oh, I haven't got anything to talk about. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know if I'll be
Yeah,
able to talk." And like they would just keep going on. Like it's crazy
yeah,
that when you ask the question, and you just let them talk and you just be quiet, people talk.
that's true. Yeah, everybody likes to
Yeah.
be listened to, I suppose.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, so yeah, that's good. So yeah, appreciate it, Pat, and have a good night, and get the kids off to bed. Hopefully, they don't
yeah.
give you too much hassle.
Great. Thanks again, Fran, and congratulations with your daughter. And talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.